Okay, I see you. Jay, can you hear me?
For sure.
Oh yeah, you over there smashing some shit. All right, we just gotta
I
wait.
just had my little celebration.
Oh, I feel that. We gotta wait for James. And then we gonna get it cracking.
I don't know why he tried to do it on his phone.
Yeah, it's probably not gonna work. You probably gonna have to do it on his computer. Okay. Oh, and we got action. All right, hold on a second. All right, Jay, you can James, you can hear?
Yes, yeah, yo.
Okay. Jalen, you can hear too, you good?
Yeah, here I come. Hold on.
Okay.
Had to go. Yeah, let's,
All right, that's what I like to see. All right, so welcome to the show, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, another episode of From the Ground Up. Today, I have two, not one, but two very special guests at the moment. We have a returning guest in Mr. James Wade, and we have a kind of returning guest as well because we recorded before, but it didn't really work out the way I wanted it. So returning in again as well, Mr. Jalen Mahone. How y'all feel? How y'all feeling today, fellas? What's going on with y'all?
Blessed, so blessed. No complaints this
good,
way.
man. Real good. It's good to see y'all, man. Y'all
Yes.
my
Yeah,
big
y'all
cousins, man. I
too.
don't see y'all
You
every day.
feel me?
That's a fact.
Always,
Yeah,
always.
we all spread it across the
Love
world,
y'all,
but
man.
for sure. But
Love you too.
it's still family over everything over here. So we already talked to James Way before. He still got everything going on. Let him know about the album once again. Also, all the streams, all the success it's been having, and
Yes,
everything
sir.
that's going on with the music.
Yeah, man. I'm extremely blessed. Right now, You Are More Beautiful Than You Think. Is out now. It dropped on January 29th. So far we're over at collectively with all streaming sites, we're probably at around like 25,000 streams since January 29th. So we moving, man. Everything's been going well. The first single, Goat Talk, is already at 12,000 views on YouTube. I'm
Numbers,
doing real
baby.
nice streaming. Yeah, so
That's
we doing that,
my
man.
favorite song, by the way. Go Talk is my favorite song
I
for many
appreciate
reasons.
you.
Now
You
we
know that
go ahead.
go ahead. No, I was gonna say just the those Kobe references kind of flying overhead. You feel me? So
Oh yeah,
people don't
yeah,
Say
even
one for us
understand that
one
whole
time.
reference.
yeah,
Say
yeah.
one time.
Let's get one.
The whole scheme of 8 and 24, 8 and 24. Like I'm shooting out his name. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing that the whole rap, and then the chorus is actually that's the Mamba mentality, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if we allow that mean we close. Yeah, I swear I never let it go.
Mm.
Yeah, until my body in the hole. Yeah, that's what it took to be the GOAT. That's what
Yes, that's
fuck up my be
Kobe.
with the smoke. You feel me?
Yeah. That's Kobe
That whole
personified right there.
that's all, and it's subtle. So it's not like I'm trying to like copy, but it's
Yeah.
like I'm giving you that, like
Right,
that's
right.
what the inspiration is. So we doing great. The next single, Love, is dropping April 16th.
Okay.
So we moving, man. Check out your boy. I am James Wade on all platforms.
For sure. And Jalen, you got stuff going on. I know you got the clothing line numbers. You've been doing that for little minute now. What's going on
Yeah.
with that? Any updates, or are you still moving with that? Are you still designing clothes? Like where you at with that?
Yeah. So numbers don't end, numbers never stop.
For sure.
But I actually have started stepping out to more like different pieces. I'm numbers was kind of like jogging suits, t-shirts kind of wave, more like sports, chill, comfy gear. But
Mm-hmm.
y'all know I kind of like to spice it up a little bit, with some fashion. So I got a sewing machine now.
Ooh,
I'm
okay.
working on getting this embroidery machine,
Oh, okay.
so I'm learning that. And so basically I'll be also starting another brand, so it'll be two different ones. But we still
Oh.
gonna, keep numbers going for sure.
Oh, okay.
And then also, yeah, that's pretty much all I'm doing with the clothes right now. Oh, and you said making clothes for other brands, like small local brands, that are starting out. Like I'm able to make their visions come to life. You know, even if it's just something simple as like say I got friends that are DJs and they just need merch. You know what I'm saying? They need something to promote. You know, I can make that. You know, so that's been real beneficial. You know, knowing how to make my own stuff because now I can make other people's stuff too. So
absolutely. Well, salute to you, brother. That's dope. And
Yeah,
as
heck
young
yeah,
as you
boy. Keep
are,
doing your thing.
young as
yes,
you are,
sir.
having your own, your own business where people you pretty much the plug. Like people come to you to get their brand popping off. So that's amazing.
They knocking on Sherry door, y'all. For real.
Come on, Sherry Door. Come on,
They
Sherry
be here in the
Door.
morning.
Come
Like
on, Sherry Door.
for real. So,
Hey,
For real.
that's a bar right there, James. You might gotta make a song called Sherry's Door.
Oh man, you already know that door ain't nothing to play with.
And not at
Hey,
all. And
yeah.
don't knock at no certain time because you will get cussed.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Okay. You already
All
know.
facts.
For surely. So, fellas, before we get into the topics of the day, I do want to send a little reminder out to everybody. I have been doing this show for 3 years now. So I want to thank you.
Heck yeah,
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Wow.
congrats for
Thank you.
sure.
I appreciate that.
I didn't even know it was that long.
Big
That's
fan.
crazy.
Yes,
Big fan.
I appreciate that. I appreciate the love. You guys always show me love, so I definitely wanted to have you guys on the show to celebrate that because you guys always send me some kind of message, some way, somehow, let me know that y'all seen the show or some topic that I talked about. So I appreciate that love. I do want to do a little celebration. If you got something celebratory, go ahead and grab it so we can do it. Well, no matter what it is, it's okay.
Yes, sir. A little something.
We call James on a bad day, guys. He don't have his typical celebration.
They call me slipping. They call me slipping.
It's all good.
It's okay because it's more shows to come, so we'll catch you on another good day. But Jalen, what you got over there?
Just a little 1800 coconut.
Ooh,
Hey.
ooh, he 1800 with it. Okay.
Yeah.
Little fancy over there. All right, and got the
Crazy.
personal. You out the bottle with it?
He say I go with the good stuff.
Y'all taught me well.
I'm gonna say yes. You was taught right. That's how you know you was raised right. All right. So to the 2-3 years, and not only to that, but to the success of your clothing line, Jay, and as well as your music, James, as well as us all being young Black entrepreneurs trying to chase a bag, chasing our dreams, breaking that chain, doing all of those things, pushing the culture forward, being a part of the culture. So let's celebrate that as well, because that's also something to celebrate. So to y'all, man, I appreciate y'all. Love y'all.
Salute.
We really all first cousins. That's crazy.
Yes, we are all first cousins. So by the way, James is the OG. He is our older cousin. Then it's me. Then it's
Pops.
Jay. But I mean, we've honestly, even though we've lived in separate areas, we've always kept in great touch, which is what I enjoy about all of our relationships. Like we've always still been close, no matter what. So that's definitely dope and a blessing. But all the cute shit out the way now. Let's get into the nitty gritty, to the topics, to the conversation of what's going on in the sports world. The first thing that I want to talk about is the KD versus Michael Rappaport thing. Now, you guys have both heard what happened, got both sides of the story, right? Y'all saw pretty much how it unfolded. Okay, so what was
the interview that he was talking about? Like, what interview was he pushing him to do?
I'm glad that you said that, because I was about to kind of give a little short rundown of what happened. So basically, there was a game where Charles Barkley asked him a question, and I think he just answered like, yeah. Like he didn't really elaborate. I forgot what the question it was, but he asked him a question and Katie just he just was like, yeah. And that was it. And so I want to say that Michael Rappaport either pointed that out or he spoke about how Katie responds in interviews in general. I believe that was the start of the conversation. And then from there, it kind of went left field, like it was just a bunch of threats and this, that, the third. Lawyers was supposedly getting involved,
right?
All this madness. So I want to know.
He was in his inbox on his head, bro. He was on his head, he never let up.
Yeah, no, Katie went in the water looking for blood, and he found it.
Like, did he not think that like?
So what
he chose violence every day. He chose violence.
No, he absolutely he chose violence from the first initial message that he sent back. He chose violence from that moment forward. So what do you guys think? Because I saw on obviously I was watching on First Take and Undisputed and stuff like that, and they all talked about it. Undisputed, everybody pretty much said that they were disappointed in both guys and that it shouldn't have went that far. Michael shouldn't have put the messages out. Katie shouldn't have threatened him, quote unquote.
Yeah, that
Stephen,
was some old snitch stuff, to be real.
yeah,
Keep going.
Stephen A. Kind
Who's
of
that?
alluded to the same thing. Pretty much saying like it shouldn't have went that far, and they both should have handled it better. Now, what do you?
Agreed.
Before I say what I think, what do y'all think about the situation and how it was handled, and if there was a right or wrong, a better way to handle it? Like, what do you guys think?
I can
Go ahead, Jay.
Yeah, I'll just say, I mean, like I said, I'm just now finding out what the interview was about. So I'm kind of like, I don't even, but like you said, why does it even go that far? Like both of y'all are accomplished, you know what I'm saying? Like why, I don't get why Katie, and he said, you know what I'm saying? He has been emotional, you know what I'm saying, a lot of times before, but I don't get why at this point, you know what I'm saying, your career and your life, you want to be at people like that, you know what I'm saying? When I don't know, like I wouldn't put all my energy into a guy like that. Like that is fit. Nah, not with all that to lose.
Right. What about you?
It's crazy, man. I kind of had this kind of zen kind of way of looking at it, where it's like for KD has just shown us that this is kind of who he is, as far as like he's kind of thin skinned and things bother him, right? So if you gonna heckle him and he's willing to respond to pretty much anything, Michael, you walked into that.
Yeah.
You walked into that like you don't, like you walk past that fence every single time, and you watch other people make fun of the dog and the dog barking all crazy and stuff like that. You think you're gonna walk and do the exact same thing, and the dog's not gonna do that to you. And you just be being silly. So I look at it the same way when it comes to that. I don't think they should have engaged, and I think if anything, they should have just blocked each other. And just not talked. I think him putting out the messages was in bad taste. But KD was on his head, bro. And that's the way KD wanted to go about it. He wanted to be like, yo, bro, you said something to me. So, okay, now, and I do feel like that. If you come for me.
And I ain't sitting for you.
All right, I'm here now.
Yeah, I think.
I'm here now. Now, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I agree with both of you, but I also think as well, there has to come a time where there's a line drawn when it comes to people who commentate on sports, especially when I feel like, especially when it comes to white sports analysts, they have this thing, and Skip Bayless has this bad too. Like they have this thing where they feel like because they're in the media, they're allowed to challenge you and to say certain things to you, and because you're rich and you're on this just higher level, you're just supposed to brush it off. It's just little old me. What do you care about me for? But at the same time, it's like they take it further than just challenging the talent. It's like they go personal as far as like the character and the man.
Like they can't be touched. You're
like
right.
They can't be touched. And it's like
You're
it's
right.
like at
Skip B.
Yeah, he tries it. He tries it. And it's like at some point, you can't be mad for these athletes responding like, see me, like, let's come see what's up. Because if there was a time where both of them were in the same room, he wouldn't talk to Katie like that.
Nope.
That's the problem. The internet utmost respect. The internet allows you to be somebody that you're not. Michael Rappaport does the same thing. He toes that line as well. He attacks athletes personally all the time, calling them all kinds of bitches and pussies and this, that, and third. But then somebody finally gave you what you wanted, and it's, oh, I'm getting my lawyer involved. Oh, I want the public to see these messages. But it's like, well, did you tell him what you did? Like, did you? Because it wasn't like KD just came out of nowhere in his DMs and was like, meet me somewhere, I want to fight. Like, you know what I'm saying? He was provoked. Like James said, if you poke the bear, you can't be surprised when it decides to bite you.
Right.
Oh, facts.
So I mean,
also
go ahead.
Oh no, I was just, man, I ain't gonna lie, bro. Maybe it's because I don't eat that poison, but I'm at a different point. I'm at a different point in my life, man, and I actually look at that type of stuff. And you made a great point about analysts crossing a line and saying things, but when I look at the bigger picture of it, it's basically its own industry, right? Like the media industry, and the more sensational you are, the more clicks you're gonna get. These people aren't getting into this for integrity. They're getting into it for like shock
It's the
value.
same thing all around.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's all-time high at right now. Like it's crazy.
When they're going back and forth and they're even debating about like a sports topic, they're not really talking about like actual sports numbers unless they're really trying to paint a narrative, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're really going for, oh, they're bad in the clutch without actually even explaining or even giving the percentages of what they mean, right?
One.
So
that is the one.
but that's what they do. So for me, if I was an athlete, as I am just a normal human being now, and even just as a musician, I'm genuinely just watching what I give my energy to, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I know that all these things, especially everything that's out there and these little tidbits and stuff, it's manufactured outrage.
Mm-hmm.
This is generated as news reels to get your attention and get you frustrated and get you a type of way. And it takes you away from the things that are actually important.
You're absolutely right.
Right? So I would just be more disciplined in the idea of that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to get under my skin. And if I give them that power, it says a lot about me. So I just wouldn't engage, and I wouldn't even be listening to the outside chatter. Like, y'all, you couldn't catch me. I don't, like, even now, I don't read reviews.
Mm-hmm.
For what? For what? People gonna feel a certain way regardless. Somebody love me, somebody hate me. I don't need to read reviews because it's not gonna do anything for me but emotionally rile me up. And what is that gonna do?
For sure.
Right. So it's like you watch what you pay attention to. So in that sense, as an athlete, like both sides, like KD would have failed so much better throughout his professional career if he had just tuned out the noise, because he's greater than what he understands he is. He's listening to everybody else and not realizing he's one, if not the greatest scorer we've ever seen.
I think a part of KD's problem as well is that KD is still seeking validation. And I feel like that's a part of the problem with why he's so.
Yeah, I don't understand why.
I don't understand why, because if I'm Kevin Durant and I've accomplished what Kevin Durant has accomplished, there wouldn't be two words anybody could say to me to make me respond or to get into my feelings. Like, no matter how I got 2 championships, I have 2 championships and 2 finals MVPs. No matter how.
No, them 2 championships ain't shit.
No,
and 2 finals MVP. They're not shit. I'm sorry. I love KD.
I hear
they don't
that,
hold any weight.
But I hear that's to you though. I'm just saying, if I was Kevin Durant, I wouldn't care about what anybody.
That's probably why he wanted to fight you right there. How you gonna tell that man that the championships don't mean nothing? It's hard to get there now. It ain't easy.
It was the cakewalk for them.
No, it's not.
It was absolutely.
I was gonna say it was. They was beating motherfuckers by 40 and 50 and
There's
shit.
not a single team that could have touched that Warriors.
Those games weren't even fun to watch after a while. They were like, okay,
because man, even if they were losing, it was like they're gonna win. It's just a matter of how many. Because once they decide to click it on, there was no turning it off.
So there was a conversation, right? Wasn't it just like maybe a week or two ago about like, you know, the Warriors were saying how they really didn't need, you know, it was kind of like some friction there.
Because they did. Because the thing is, they didn't.
They did need them.
It's like if you have, I think I mentioned this before. It's like if you have a regular Lamborghini, right? And then you add butterfly doors. Right. It don't change the fact that it's a Lamborghini. Like it's just cooler because you got the butterfly doors. Like, you didn't need it because it's still a Lamborghini, but it makes it adds to the aesthetic. Like, okay, I have a Lamborghini, but it has butterfly doors. That's kind of how the Warriors and KD was. It's like, we don't need you. However, we have you, so let's maximize this full potential and see what we can do. And they did.
So what would have validated him? What moment should he have taken? You know what I'm saying?
I feel like, and James, I'll let you hop in after this, but I feel like he always should have left OKC. I was never mad at him for leaving OKC, because the fact of the matter is, he was never going to win a championship or feel validation in OKC, because he was never going to he couldn't get over Russell Westbrook, unfortunately. And I love Russell. We're going to get to Russ in a second, but he was never going to get over that. I just don't feel like he should have gone to Golden State, because what he was searching for, he was never going to find that in Golden State, because Golden State doesn't belong to him. It's not his. Like, Steph, Clay, Dre, they grew up. They became men. They had families. They were there for the losing seasons. Like, they've been through all of that. And it's like, KD came when it was good. Like, you wasn't with us shooting in the gym when it was bad. You know what I'm saying? So that's why
in his prime.
Right, in
That's
his
what makes it
prime.
even
Yeah.
worse.
Yeah. Go ahead, Jay.
No, it's just, I mean, how do you do that? How do you do that as a competitor? How do you do that as one of the most special players in the league, where there's very few people who you can take them and build an entire team around them and guarantee yourself a trip to the finals?
Mm-hmm.
KD is one of the few players in the league you could do that for.
Mm-hmm.
You can guarantee yourself a finals run with him, putting the right pieces around him.
Yeah.
So why then go to a team that literally is historically great and don't need anything? They could have literally added a quality bench player and still had the same exact result.
Absolutely. And what also adds insult to injury for KD's case is the fact that literally the season before, that was a team he lost to, a team that he was up 3-1 against and should have beat. So it kind of adds to that aesthetic of like you copped out, like you took the easy way out. Because that's any superstar, or like James said, a role player could have went to Golden State and it's the same result because they were that lethal already. You know what I'm saying? So it's like they didn't really like it. Of course, it just made it more of a sure shot that they were going to win a championship, adding him.
I'll give you an example that's even just kind of less under the radar that will prove the point. Why? Because championships in certain spaces and contexts do lose value, or they don't assert you the way that people think. Everybody's chasing these rings, but what they don't understand is, unless you're winning rings as the number one person,
it doesn't
and
matter.
then maybe you go get some other rings later on in life, they don't matter. They genuinely don't, because Clyde Drexler, we don't think of Clyde Drexler as
Robert Horry.
Robert Horry, absolutely.
Well, even with that, like Clyde Drexler was the number one player on Portland. He was the number one player on his team for years. He went to go get a ring in Houston.
Wasn't he the number one draft pick too?
He might have been.
I think he got. I think he got drafted higher than Mike.
He might have.
Because I remember
Michael was second, right?
Mike had a vendetta against him for like a long time because he went ahead.
There were comparisons. Yeah, there were comparisons to who was better.
Right.
Clyde Drexler was considered at the time the Jordan of the West.
Yeah.
And Clyde had actually already been to a finals before Jordan had. So there was comparisons to them, and then Jordan shut all that down. But Clyde, with his career historically being on teams, like I say, he went to the finals as a number one player twice, right? He's a historically all-great player for that franchise. He's won a championship, but he won it on his last leg, and when they go teamed up with Hakeem Olajuwon, and he won it on his last leg. Nobody looks at Clyde Drexler like a champion because when he won that title, it wasn't in a space where, and even then he was kind of like really far back, second fiddle, right?
It's why. Go ahead.
Oh no, and I was going to even make like Shaq. That Miami championship would not even hold any weight if it wasn't for the championships in LA.
Right, and it's kind of like it's kind of like with LeBron too. It's like that one ring in Cleveland means more than the other three by far. Like that one ring in Cleveland is so much more potent than the rest of them, just because there's just so much significance tied to him winning a championship in a town that he literally, he's not from Cleveland, but he's like from like 20 miles away. You know what I'm saying? And it's like everything he went through, the decision, like all that, the validation that KD wants is what LeBron got winning a championship in 2016 for Cleveland. Like that's the kind of thing,
exactly,
that's the kind of effort that needs to happen for KD in order for him to feel the validation that he wants. He wasn't ever going to get that in Golden State. Ever. That is,
and he won't get it in Brooklyn.
He won't get
it in Brooklyn.
Exactly.
Not gonna get it there either.
That was my next. You can't
like
not.
Yeah,
they're not. They're not. Yeah, they are. I'm like. I mean, I don't have much to say about that either. But you can't. I don't even know why that happened. You know what I'm saying? Like with him and Kyrie, like that would have been like cool. All right, let's see what y'all can do together, because y'all both been having y'all issues, like y'all boys.
Friends,
so so let's see what y'all can do. But y'all done brought James Harden, who I feel like he personally could go to the finals himself with a little squad. And so y'all add him, he plays his role cool. Then, but you know what I'm saying? I ain't even saying that Blake Griffin and who else they just got?
LaMarcus.
LaMarcus. I'm not even saying that they are, what I'm saying, what you call a stack, because nobody was really looking at them before they came there. But it's still like, it's chemistry. That's what it takes to win, a championship. And I feel like, it really just don't look like a challenge over there. You know what I'm saying?
No, it doesn't, because
like, what was that?
They're the thing of what Brooklyn is, by signing Blake Griffin and LaMarcus Aldridge, what they were trying to do is make up for the weakness that they have in DeAndre Jordan. Because like I told you before, how when we talked on FaceTime, I was telling you then, like, good teams are going to hunt him out because it's going to be easy because they can get him in a pick and roll because he's not a great defender anymore. So they were trying to get some weak side help for him so that teams can exploit that. But the problem with that is Blake isn't a great defender either. And neither is LaMarcus Aldridge. If you can pull both of them out and you can tire them down, they're DeAndre Jordan adjacent. Like, so they still have the same issue. They just got more bodies to accommodate said issue, but it's still, the issue's still there. So, I mean, they just have to hope that they are able to outscore whoever they play against, which, I mean, they have the greatest options to do that because they have KD, Kyrie, James Harden, obviously. But that's going to have to be their winning formula. It's outscoring everybody. What made the Warriors so potent and so crazy is that on offense and defense, they can suffocate you. The Brooklyn Nets, they can't suffocate you, but they can outscore you.
Yeah.
James,
I can't wait to see like playoff Nets though. Like, that should be a different look. You know what I'm saying? It's really been a whole lot of hype around them, but they almost have to win the championship.
Mm-hmm. Oh no, they
are going to.
They absolutely have to.
I don't know about that.
I don't think it's a short shot as
how you figure.
I don't think it's as green as everybody thinks it is.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
Who's stopping them?
I think.
Tell me, these NBA is about matchups. Right. You cannot put 5 better people on the floor than what the Nets have.
But the thing is, they have. Here's the thing: they have three players that are better than most teams in the NBA. As far as like, if you put their 3 against most teams 3 in the NBA, they're better than them. However, like I just
way better by far.
Yeah, by far,
it's not even close.
But what I explain is, especially when it comes to the playoffs, is that teams are able to more so lock in and game plan, and they have in the interior. They have weaknesses, and also too, Kyrie and
we said this about the Warriors.
No. The Warriors. Anybody who said the Warriors had a weakness was delusional because there was not a single weakness that they had. The thing is,
they were no. They were not good internally. No, they weren't.
They weren't good.
All their guys could switch, and Draymond playing the center position neutralized, but they were still weak inside, and that was something that they said a lot. Even when KD goes, if you go back and check, one of the things they said is, okay, that's great, they'll score a lot, but they don't have anything inside. That was the same criticism that they gave the Warriors.
But not a single team was able to figure that out enough to beat them. So to me,
I don't think it's like over. The East is weak as is I don't know what, they weak as hell. Like, there's nobody in the East that can match up with them.
If Embiid didn't get hurt, that definitely be.
But Embiid is coming back. That's the thing.
Yeah, that definitely be a matchup.
And people are sleeping.
Embiid and who?
People are sleeping on the Miami
in
Heat
the playoffs.
People are
sleeping and who?
People are sleeping on the Miami
Tobias
Heat.
Harris? You talking about on the same team?
No, people are sleeping.
Tobias Harris as your second option is gonna beat the Nets.
No,
think about that. Come on now, we talk about matchups, right?
But the Miami Heat got something to say. They got something to say.
No, we're not doing that. That was a Cinderella story.
No,
it was cute.
It was cute.
They're getting healthy for one. For two, they've added some important pieces to their team that helps their.
The Celtics can't do nothing, James.
Okay, so I'm glad that you brought that up because I wanted to talk about the Celtics next because they've been struggling a lot.
She said the Heat though.
No, I'm dead serious. Okay.
Nah, they're gonna give. I mean, they're gonna give them. They're gonna give them a run. James.
All right.
They're gonna give them a run now. If they can't do nothing, they're gonna play some defense now.
Now, if I'm right,
this is why I'm the older cousin. Okay. I'm gonna break this down for y'all. Right? You got to look at it like this. Miami is that team who they will they have the type of team where they can go on a run and they can make it to the finals. Correct.
Mm-hmm.
But Miami does not have the team that can make it to the finals multiple occasions. They'll always be that team in the mix. You got to go back. Look, I'm telling you, look at the teams. There are very few teams that make multiple trips to the finals. And when they do make multiple trips, they're favored. They're not like a 4th or 5th seed this year. And that does not happen. It never happens. So historically, you have to look at it and say, what would be the gauge? Like the only story you could even compare to would be like the Houston Rockets, right?
Mm-hmm.
Great team, 3rd seed this year, 6th seed this year, 5th seed this year, right? They get one good year where they boom, they break through, they make it. It's them in New York,
Mm-hmm.
right? They win a championship. The very next year, they struggle.
Mm-hmm.
They make it as a 6th seed,
Mm-hmm.
right? They barely make it in. They had to trade for Clyde Drexler just to get that, right? They barely make it in. They struggle and pound and pound and pound and somehow make it back to the finals to win another one. That's the only closest team. And Miami has no Hall of Famers. None. Jimmy Butler's a great player. He is an all-star. He is a superstar. But right now, even if you check his Hall of Fame like qualifications and predict, he's not in a tier where he's a guaranteed Hall of Famer. So he's not even considered Hall of Fame level right now. Right. When that's your best player, you're not going to the finals multiple years. Yeah. It's not going to happen, especially right. Especially when you're looking at KD, who has a ring, Kyrie, who has a ring. Like, you're not beating that team. They already know how to win. Even if
they could beat them in the playoffs, though. We're not saying in the finals. We're not saying they're going to the finals, but they're saying that's a playoff run.
Well, I mean, if they would have to go through Brooklyn. They would have to go through Brooklyn to get to the finals.
Yeah.
But
that's what I'm saying. That's not no cakewalk.
That's what I'm saying, and I'm not sure shotting that they are going to beat the Brooklyn Nets. I'm just saying that they would have something to say about Brooklyn just cakewalking through the East. I don't think it's going to.
So they're Indiana. So they're Indiana when LeBron was in Miami.
There you go.
They were always there.
Yeah.
They were always in the way.
But I'm just saying,
they were just in the way.
I like that.
Yeah, no, that's
OG talk right there.
Yeah, no, that's definitely a good comparison because you're absolutely correct about that. Like I said, I feel like they're the one team that can push the Brooklyn Nets to like really make them earn it because they're scrappy. They're gonna play hard. They're gonna play physical. They're gonna wear you down. They're gonna do. Like I said, I'm not saying it's a sure shot that they beat them. I'm just saying that they will definitely they will shake things up and make it interesting. I'll put it that way. But the Celtics, so what do you think the Celtics issues are? Like, because I mean, it's good that there's issues there. What is holding them back from elevating?
They don't have a vet level. They don't have no vet.
Yeah. Okay. That's one.
You need a strong veteran presence who's actually a player, right? Like, you can't be like a super role player and shit like that. Like, they need a third option who's a certified vet. And not only that, they just don't have enough as far as the pieces around Jalen or Tatum,
Jason
right?
Tatum,
yeah, Tatum and
I've heard Marcus Smart has been having a terrible year, and he's kind of been that quote unquote vet presence that they need.
He's kind of
in terms of like energy and trying to keep him up, but I've heard this year, and I seen him do something crazy the other day, but
no,
enough.
I always felt like his value in the league would be short lived because he's one of those guys that you love to have on your team, obviously, because like I said, like you said, energy. He brings that when guys are down, he can get you that pep talk to pull you up. But I just never felt like he had enough talent to sustain like a consistent.
He would have made it in 2000.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely.
Who is this again? I forgot.
Marcus Smart.
Marcus Smart.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Like if he was playing, like you said, 2010, maybe even a little bit earlier than that, I feel like he would be perfect for that kind of era. But this era, the way that the game is being played now, I just don't see how his game his game at least fits. Now he could be that veteran leadership like a Jared Dudley, where when shit's going wrong, he can pull you to the side like, hey, do this, like pull it together. Like he can rally the troops, but that's pretty much
You
it.
can't be hurt.
Like,
You can't be hurting the team and doing that.
Yeah, exactly.
Look,
You can't be hurtful to the team and do that. Exactly.
You
That's
gotta
perfect.
look position by position, right?
Mhm.
And you gotta honestly ask yourself, what ranking would Marcus Smart be out of all the point guards starting right now in the league, right? And this is where the problem comes, because when you talk about Boston's struggles, right?
Mhm.
You do have two, like, I guess, top 25 players in Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, right?
Mhm.
But when you look at the rest of the team, when they stack up position wise, these guys aren't in the top. Like, none of these guys they're all at the bottom of the bottom half of the league. And so if night in and night out, you're outmatched at most positions, there's no way you can win that unless you're deep, unless you have a lot of good players that maybe not great, but they're just good. And I can keep just throwing a lot of good people at you.
Yeah.
Then I can probably,
you
know,
right.
and maybe
right.
I can wear you out. But if I can't do that,
because they started, they first 7 is all they got, really.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. Once you get past that 7, that's done.
And that's why this is why I'm saying it's a lot more clear than you guys are looking at, because if you take the top 5 players and on Brooklyn's team, right? And you take the top 5 players on everyone else's team, they tap out at like 2.
Yeah.
Like, okay, this one's guarding KD and this one's guarding Harden, and they're struggling the whole game trying to stop these MFs.
And then
and these are your top 2. And then who else?
Then who do
Who's
you
stopping
have?
Kyrie?
Yeah, I was
Who's
say, who do you
stopping
have
Blake?
Kyrie? Yeah. Who do you have on Kyrie?
And then Joe Harris ain't no punk.
No.
Joe Harris is fire. You leave him open, he hitting everything.
Yeah.
So they have
you said who's stopping Kyrie?
Yeah, who's stopping Kyrie on the Celtics?
Oh, I thought y'all said something about AI.
Because this no. Because look, this is why you say that. Because if your third best player has to be better than Kyrie, your first 2 players are KD, and you're matching them out. Let's say that's a wash. You got 2 and 2. There's nobody in the league that has that, but you know, let's say that's that, right? The only person who can compete at that top 2 would be the Lakers, right? Who's your third best player? For Kyrie. Okay, who's your 4th best player for Blake? Who's your 5th best player for Joe Harris? Right? Somebody who, if you leave him open, he'll knock you down for 30.
I got somebody for y'all. I got somebody for y'all on the West. You talking about all these players? I got somebody. Who? The Nuggets. They'll do it.
They could.
The Nuggets. They'll do it.
They could. They got the
just
body.
got your boy.
They got the bodies.
Their bodies is in there. That it's plugged up for sure.
And they got
and that bench is deep.
And they got shooters. Not only not only them, but the Utah Jazz. The Utah Jazz. They got size. They move the ball extremely well. They shoot the ball extremely well from 3. They can
that West is crazy for them now. But you're right.
Sure.
That East is kind of weak when it comes to.
Yeah, I mean, because you only got 2. You got like 3, maybe 3 top. You got the top 3 teams in the East, and then that's it. Like, nobody else is gonna really challenge. And
but that's what I'm saying. Even the people y'all talk about, they still got to get through everybody else on the West. Like, you know, they're knocking each other out, which has always been the West's problem. Like, they're doing this, and the East people are just sliding through.
Yeah, don't sleep on the Phoenix Suns either.
Oh, that's fact. See, but
Phoenix Suns either.
Okay, so I'm with you on the Nuggets. I'm with you on the Nuggets because you have somebody that's extremely dynamic in Jokic, right? And then Jamal Murray, I love Jamal Murray. If he gives me playoff Jamal Murray,
then absolutely, I agree with that.
All day.
I agree with
now
that.
You got 2 top. So they're not as top heavy as the Nets, but they definitely have better like they have 12 people that you can actually play in a rotation. And very few teams have that. So I could definitely see the Nuggets wearing you out because they have a lot of good people they can throw at you. Okay, that's fair. I do think Phoenix has some dynamics that are extremely interesting. Ayton is just scratching the potential. He looked like he could break out any moment. And Booker's a certified star. Chris Paul can lead everybody to the promised land.
Yeah. Once Ayton figures it out, it's gonna be problems for the league.
It's gonna be ugly. Him and Wiseman though.
The Nuggets beating the Clippers now.
Yeah, Wiseman too. Well,
I ain't worried about the Clippers. Clippers are done.
Can we just
Clippers are done.
While we're here, I wasn't even gonna talk about them, but I have to do it because the petty in me won't let it slide. Can we just talk about the Clippers for just a quick second? Because
you say you don't want to let it slide? Oh yeah, we can, because they were supposed to be the champions last year. I thought, right?
What they were. Listen. Before even all that, Kawhi had the commercial. He had the crown dangling from the keychain. This is Kawhi Town now. All of that, just for you to choke in the semifinals
against the Nuggets.
Against the Nuggets. And they still have the same problems this year that they had last year. They do not have a true closer. And that is an issue when you are in the playoffs and you're getting to those last.
Kawhi's a closer. He just didn't close.
No, he's not. He's not a closer.
He's a closer.
He's a closer. He's for sure.
No, he's not. No, he's not.
I'm definitely on that.
Give me one scenario outside. Give me a scenario outside of the Game 7 game winner that he hit in Toronto versus Philadelphia to prove that man is a closer.
Nah, I've seen him hit some shots, man.
No,
yeah, I have too.
No, I've seen that man.
Even against the Lakers, I didn't see him hit some shots.
But this is also what we don't consider when you talk about clutch, right? I'm talking about the games within 4 to 6 points throughout clutch time, and you keep getting me buckets to keep me in the game.
Yes, sir.
You keep getting me buckets.
Yes, sir. I'm like, ooh, I hate this man. Like, don't make this shot. Yeah. He's making it.
See,
don't give him the ball because he's going to do that.
I hear that. However, if it comes down to where it's closer than 4 to 6, it's 3 to 5, it's 3 to 4, it's 3 to 2. Kawhi's not no, because he's not a good decision maker. I've seen it. It ain't even how I figure. I've seen it. Skip Bayless. Matter of fact, since we talked about him earlier, I'm gonna just bring this up. Skip Bayless, who was an avid Kawhi fan because he's anti-LeBron, but that's another story for another day, has even said himself, like, he's in the clutch when it comes to decision making. He's not a great decision maker, which is why they had to bring in shooters and they had to bring in a Rondo because Rondo is going to make the best decision, or he's going to at least set up the person that he feels.
But I don't need you to make it. I don't need you to play. I need you to shoot the shot.
But
I'm going to give it to Kawhi.
But if you're a clutch player, no, he's not. He's not going to do that.
Kawhi's 2-point percentage in clutch time is amazing. And if you're asking me, I don't want a 3. I want somebody when you take in the last shot. You're going to drive, create that space, and take that easy 18-footer.
Mid-range.
Which they taught me back in the day and which I watched Jordan do my whole life. That's my game. So Kawhi,
it's green every time.
Who can do
that? It's green every time in those last 5 minutes. But if it's a game-winning deciding shot, he can't.
He might pass it.
He's going to pass it. It's not even a might.
It might turn it over.
Thank you. That's what I'm saying.
I'm not agreeing with this.
No,
I'm not agreeing with it.
And that's
because
fine.
I've seen the opposite. Have
you seen it when it count though, James?
I've seen it when I've seen him turn it over. I've seen him pass the ball. I've seen him not.
Bro, you can Google right now. Kawhi
I've seen him in the corner when somebody else deciding to shoot the shot. Like the reason why he was so deadly on Toronto is because he didn't have to be the leader of that team. He got to kind of he was obviously still the better player, but Kyle Lowry ran that team. And so he was allowed to go under the radar.
This is what we're not considering. You're actually making my point, actually. No, what you're not considering is when he went to Toronto, just like in San Antonio, there was a great system already in place. So he was able to work. What you did was you took him, you put him on a new team. The Clippers didn't have necessarily the infrastructure yet. Like they had the potential, but they didn't have the infrastructure yet. And they changed a lot of things to bring him in. Now you turn over, you bring in a new coach, you bring in new players, you trade people, you in and out. And the chemistry to do that, because he's not a LeBron where it's like, I'm just going to bring the ball up and control it. If you're the one bringing the ball up and controlling it, you can move out pieces all you want. You can be Tom Brady all day. because all you need is for anybody to be in the spaces where you can get them the ball. But when you need to be set up, and you need the right back screens, and you need the right, he knows I'm going to hesitate and pop back out to the wing to get the jump shot. The point guard's going to throw me the ball. He has not had an efficient point guard with him, right? So you got to take that into account. If you got to be set up and you have no one to set you up, yes, it's going to be a lot harder for you to even get that shot off. So you got to take a lot of these things into play, because even at the end of the game, when you're giving him the ball, you got to give him the ball in a spot where he can operate because of his skill set. And because like you give him a Chris Paul, we're not even having the same conversation, because Chris Paul will find you in hell. You know what I mean? Like, and he's always going to be put in the right position. So all he has to do is, like I said, hit that 18-foot jump shot.
Would have said it.
Give him a team that's consistent with, again, his skill set. We can't hold everybody to this idea of like, well, LeBron just makes these moving pieces. LeBron can have moving pieces because he handles the ball. Come here, set me a pick. I can do that if I'm controlling the ball. If I have to have you set me up,
is it because he's not? Is it as simple as because he's not vocal?
But here's the thing. Here's the thing. If you need a perfect situation and a perfect setup to make a clutch shot, you're not clutch.
That's not what I'm saying, though. That's not what I'm saying. That's like saying Steph Curry don't need a back screen. That's crazy.
No, but he doesn't.
That's crazy.
He doesn't.
But he does.
He does.
But he does.
So Steph Curry doesn't have a handle to get his own shot off.
I'm not saying that, but you do. But you know that.
Oh no, he can get it off. He might not make it, but he can get it off.
Okay, think about the success of his teams, though, right? When you think about it, he could come down the court, throw the ball, and he would go underneath, and they're setting him these amazing screens so he can get out and pop and make a shot. One of the things that made KD love to want to go play with them is because he realized, yes, I can get the shot on my own, but it's a lot harder when I don't have an offense that tailors to my skill set. I can stand out there and ISO ball all day. I can be a great ISO player. But when you can set me screens like that, or you can set me a play to where you're saying, I want you to make the last shot, and not only that, I got a great play to get you open for it.
Right.
That's crazy to say that nobody's clutch because they don't want a situation that highlights their skill set. But that's crazy. He's not an ISO player. He's not an ISO player.
But okay, so then how? Okay, so I like I said, I hear all of that. But the players that you brought up are, granted, those screens did set them up for better shots or set them up for great shots. I hear all of that too. However, they didn't need that in order for them to get that shot up. KD,
he doesn't either.
Yes, he does.
And he doesn't either. He I'm just saying the result of what you're seeing, you see more efficiency. This is the same argument we had about KD when he was on the Thunder. People knew he's great, but he's not in the best offense to highlight his skill set. If you put him in the right system, he'll look even better than he does. And that's the argument I'm making. KD, I'm telling you the same highlights you see where Kawhi is doing something that kind of just seems like fumbleish. There are also highlights where for a very long stretch of period of times, he will just take over the game in the clutch. And he is clutch. And there are a lot of situations in which you can see that. Even during a game, the pace in which he plays for somebody who's not a playmaker is extremely efficient. But he does not have the right system to highlight his skill set. He's had no point guard. None. He's had no point guard. That's extremely important. This is a point guard league. Let's not play no games. The top players in our league are point guards. When you look at the top 20, a lot of them are point guards. The people that are coming out of these drafts with the higher position, the moment D Rose came out as the point guard, it changed because we used to pick the big man first. But now it's all these great guards. You cannot be a top team and have a bottom point guard or have no point guard. Name their point guard and then tell me where he ranks when it comes to all the starting point guards in the league.
Kawhi played with Tony Parker, didn't he?
And he was great then. He wasn't great in San Antonio?
So again, no, I didn't say he wasn't great. I just said you said he's never had a great. Go ahead.
No, I'm talking about the Clippers. That's what I'm saying. He looks crazy now because they don't have that point guard there. I'm telling you, that makes such a difference for a player like him. And it's gonna say, hell, even for Paul George. You give Paul George the right point guard, and he says, I don't need you dribbling it up. I don't need you doing the ISO. I'll set you up. These MFs go from whatever you rank them now, and they go up in rank. Period.
Yeah.
Give them a quality point guard and watch what I'm
that.
telling you.
I hear all
because
that. It's
like they don't really got to think too much.
Thank you.
But why?
If playoff Rondo show up,
but why do you?
When LeBron is making the decision, it's just kind of weird. You know what I'm saying?
That's what I'm saying. I just feel like, why do you need, if you're this great and you're this clutch, why do you need all these perfect setups and perfect situations and perfect combinations?
You guys are talking crazy.
You
guys sound crazy.
To like, you know what I'm saying? Like I don't understand, because there's plenty of times where, instance, Jalen, your favorite player is Kobe Bryant, correct?
Correct.
He's played with horrible point guards, yes.
Correct. A lot.
But he's also made clutch shots with those same terrible point guards, correct?
Think about Kobe.
Yes or no?
Before you say that, think about Kobe.
What was your question, Alana?
I said, hold on. I said Kobe Bryant has played with horrible point guards, but he's also made clutch shots with said horrible point guards and horrible setups, correct?
Kobe doesn't bring the ball up. Kobe didn't bring the ball up. Y'all gonna say that right now? Do not make me whip out this Google, bro, and YouTube. Kobe didn't bring the ball up. Are y'all crazy right now?
So now you got to bring the ball up.
Kobe, no, I'm saying Kobe was a playmaker, though. That's the thing. Kobe was a playmaker. They're not the same skill set. Kobe is, I'm going to bring the ball up every time, and I'm going to shoot it. He's a Carmelo Anthony, right? Everybody knows that. Same thing with Kyrie. Kyrie don't need screens. Kyrie's skill set allows him to get to where he needs to get. If you're going to sit here and say, well, Kyrie doesn't need it, so Ray Allen shouldn't, that's crazy, because they don't have the same skill set. They're not playing the same position. They're not even playing the same style of the position that they play. So you can't compare those two, because Kobe is a ball handler.
Are we talking about, we're talking about clutch players and greatness, correct?
We're talking about your argument, right? Is because you can't shoot, you don't want to shoot over 3 people and make a difficult shot. That doesn't make you clutch. That sounds crazy. Yes, people should have screens and back picks and stuff to set up plays. When I see in the games, what frustrates me is the lack of basketball IQ. You want to dribble, and then you want to take a difficult and low percentage shot, and if you make it, you're considered clutch. That's nuts. That makes no sense. I'm gonna get the closest shot. I'm gonna get the highest percentage shot, and I'm gonna get the shot with the least amount of resistance.
He definitely,
because the goal is to make the shot. I don't give a fuck what it looks like. If I get to a layup,
he does that,
I'm gonna lay it up.
It don't always work in his favor. Like it usually ends up.
But you can run. That's what I'm saying. Like all that ISO, that shit looks good and it's good for convo. But that's a low percentage play when you're talking about a clutch situation. And what we do in our minds is we reward people because we say, oh, well, if they can make that, that's fire. It's fire because it's replayable. It's fire because it's a highlight. But when you think about the smart basketball play, your old uncle who's 60 years old, who can back you down in the post slow as hell, turn you do a slow pump fake, and he's gonna make it all the time, and you frustrated.
The up and under.
The up and under.
you outside playing, you doing all this fading away and all this extra dribbling, and he just letting you wear yourself out, take all these low percentage shots, and he getting right to the bucket, slow. Surely he gonna make sure he maximizes because he's thinking with basketball IQ. He's not gonna try to beat you with talents. It's not smart.
Well, LeBron doesn't get that. LeBron doesn't get that pass because he makes the basketball decision most of the time. And
let's talk. That's a great point. That's a great point because when he passes the ball, it's
all bad. But when Kawhi does it, it's high.
But no. But it's different because LeBron has the talent.
Kawhi was considered the next Jordan or the GOAT.
That's what I'm saying. LeBron has the talent to do whatever needs to be done.
But
for that last point.
James, and to add, yes, you're right, Jay. And to add on to your point, like once he won that championship at Toronto, those talks were happening. he's now taking the crown from LeBron. He's now better than LeBron. It's Kawhi's league.
Somebody's got to do it, though.
No. The narrative was
the narrative.
The narrative was The narrative was that once he won a championship in Toronto, even with all the injuries that happened with the Warriors and all that, the narrative was now
he won the championship though.
He did. No, he did, and it still counts the same. I'm not taking that away from him, but I'm just saying the narrative was. He is now better than LeBron. He's more clutch than Kobe. He's better than the next thing to Jordan because of the mid-range game. Like these were real conversations that were being had. So we can't sit up there and
manufactured outrage. I just told y'all about that. Those are sensational, but they're not honest conversations. So when you can't really use that as a premise because even when you say it out loud, nobody actually believes that. Like nobody genuinely actually believes that.
Believing that. There was people that was believing that. There was for sure.
But a lot of points they were still making, even if they're sensational, a lot of them, if you actually still think about them, they're pretty legitimate. Now, again, the pace in which Kawhi can move, Kawhi's not super athletic, right? But the way he smoothly gets to spots is very Jordan-esque. Like his specific way of getting to that.
Sure,
that's true.
One of the closest players.
For sure.
Right. Great defender. Mm-hmm. Let's not take that away, right? Mm-hmm. Been playing injured and won one in San Antonio as the number one player. He's not the number one.
He was
though.
No, he wasn't.
He was though.
Tim Duncan
when they won that
offense
championship,
was still running through Tim Duncan. No, he was not.
Tim Duncan was not averaging more than 20 points. Let's not do this. I know how much Tim Duncan was at. He was not at his prime. Like he could down the clutch get you like buckets, but Tim Duncan at that point in his career was getting you 16 max. So that's not the number one player.
Kawhi got that Finals MVP because he got a LeBron. Let's keep it a stack.
But
he wasn't outstanding in that Finals. Let's keep it a stack.
No.
Started LeBron.
No. What he was doing was he was shutting down the best player and scoring 20 points. Now he wasn't scoring crazy 30, but he was giving you 20 a night and shutting down the best player on the other team.
Shutting down is a stretch, but sure.
Oh, y'all are crazy. I don't know. Y'all are crazy. Y'all was probably like babies when that Finals happened anyway.
First of all, I definitely was not a baby.
First of all, bro, I was with you,
Don't
bro.
Do that.
When that Finals was going on.
Don't do that.
No.
It was definitely wasn't we like in Myrtle Beach when that happened?
Listen, all niggas love bringing up age when you don't agree with them. All niggas love bringing up age when you don't agree with them.
I'm telling you.
Yeah, cause look, I got years on you, little youngins. That's what it is.
But Kawhi had y'all both valid though, for real.
No, I mean we just agree to disagree, and I mean and that's fine. I mean, I'm not even gonna say that you don't have strong points because you do. I just disagree because I feel like there's so much more to be. I mean, I hear the argument of basketball IQ and making like the high percent. Like I get all of that. It's just I just feel like there's too much that has to go right for Kawhi in order for him to be considered clutch. That's my issue. Is because it's like. No clutch situation is ideal. Now I'll give you this because you did bring this up. Like if it's between like 4 or 6 points, Kawhi absolutely can put his foot on the gas and slam the door shut and say game over. He absolutely can do that. But when it comes to decision making, as far as what's gonna decide the game, I just don't believe that strongly in Kawhi. I don't.
I just want him to shoot it. I don't want him to pass it. I want him to go. I'm gonna take the last shot. And so if you give me that. I'm going to go with that. Like if you're going to tell me like right now,
like the Toronto, the Philly game, the end of the Philly game.
Yeah. If you say any game, you say if I called you and I'm like, yo, Clippers are down by 1, Kawhi got the ball in his hand with like 8 seconds.
That was
left.
A bad shot.
You're not telling me
it's going to end.
You're not telling me you're like, oh, he's going to miss that. You're not telling me that. You're scared. You're like, oh shit. Come, bro. We're not doing that, bro. You tell that to anybody, and they're not. That's not the overall.
I'm gonna say.
People are like, "Oh, I'm for sure he's gonna miss it."
I'm gonna say.
You gonna say what?
I'm gonna say it's gonna end in a turnover because that's what's gonna happen. It's gonna end in a turnover. That's what's gonna happen.
That's strong. I don't know. You kind of trying
it.
Yeah,
that's sensational.
That's sensational.
What you call that, bro? What's that word?
Sensationalism, right? Like that's what that is. That's what it is. That's what it's called. Look it up.
Yeah, agree to disagree.
It may be an old term, but it's a media term.
It is. It definitely is. It is.
Sensationalist, yeah. Look
It
at
is.
a sensationalist, yeah.
All right, so damn, we just went from the Celtics to Kawhi. That's crazy.
Yeah, I don't even know how we ended
I
up in
don't know
Kawhi
how he got
segments.
there, but okay,
Celtics need some more players, bro,
they do need some
and
more
they
players.
better utilize some more of them picks.
Yeah, they need some pick. They need some draft picks. They need. I agree with Jalen as well. I feel like they need
Ooh,
some veteran leadership.
trade Marcus Smart for Russell Westbrook
Ooh,
That would never happen. That
it
they're
would.
not
It
even
would.
in the same tier.
No, it wouldn't. But that would be interesting if he did go to the
and a
Celtics.
whole nother. Yeah, they got to do another piece too,
Okay, so
another piece. But
They'd
that
have to.
since
They
you
have to
that'd
give
threw
up
be
a
it
big
though.
piece.
since you threw Russ in there,
That'd be it.
let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and jump on the Russ topic real quick. So Russ has been playing out of his mind the last few games. I believe the last game that I recall, he set another record. I believe he had 35 points, some like 20 rebounds, somewhere in there. And everybody was talking about the game. That was a big conversation. Now Stephen A went on First Take and said like that's cool or whatever, but I'm not impressed because you haven't won anything. You haven't made it past a certain round. Russ didn't
All you
take
do
too.
is
All you do
numbers.
is numbers. Russ didn't really take too kind to that. I mean, his wife eventually jumped in and said that she wasn't a fan of Stephen A. She had threw a little couple jabs towards his way. So in all, what do we think about Russ? Because Russ's argument is, I'm a champion. I made it out the hood. I made it to the NBA. I'm a great player. I'm going down in history. Probably going to be a Hall of Famer, irregardless. But Stephen A's argument is that's cool, but you don't win. So like, where do you guys stand as far as with the Russ situation? How do y'all feel about Russ? Do y'all agree with him, Stephen A? Like, where y'all at with it?
I look at Russ a little different. Me and you spoke on him last week, and I think me and you said he was overrated.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I still stand on that, but
Mm-hmm.
in the same breath, I kind of want to say like has he ever really said, you know what I'm saying, that I'm after this ring, like that's what I'm on. Like
Mm-hmm.
I feel like he is accomplished just in his own world. Like, you know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? Like,
Mm-hmm.
of course everybody can't get no ring. Granted, he has like look who he's playing against.
Mm-hmm.
So it ain't been a breeze. He haven't been on the best teams, but I just
Mm-hmm.
feel like as a in his mind, I feel like he thinks he's accomplished. And I
Mm-hmm.
mean, you do, if he say like my life is great, you know what I'm saying? Like why keep, you know what I'm saying, putting them down with the ring? Like that's just like saying like as an artist, like would you never be, you know what I'm saying, valid if you don't get no Grammy? Like, you know what I'm
Mm.
saying? That's just kind of like how I
That's a good
feel
point. That's a
um
good point.
in that sense. When it comes to Russ, because like you say, he come from the hood or whatever. Like he just happy to be in the league, and he
Mm-hmm.
doing it too. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I'm saying, he's starting, he doing this thing. Like, so I mean, y'all keep putting him down. Only thing you gotta say is he don't win. Like, I mean, we didn't send, and it goes back to the last conversation. Like, we didn't see him in some clutch moments too. Like, he
Yeah.
may not, and we didn't see him blow games.
Mm-hmm.
But I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I don't know. I feel like we should. I don't know. It's weird with Russ. I'm interested to hear what y'all got to say.
Yeah. What you think, James?
Man, so that's a couple things, man. Like I love his drive. I love his competitive nature. Like I love his profile.
Mm-hmm.
Like if I had to have a point guard, like I would want Russ's profile. The problem with it is it's so layered where it's like the point guard, especially in this era, has the most control of the game. And if I take
Right.
somebody like Chris Paul at this age, Chris Paul can give me 14 and 8 and have more impact on the game than when Russ gets a triple double. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And people don't stop to think about that because playing the point guard position, and one of the things that's like people don't think about is pace,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
controlling the game. The
Literally
game's getting
controlling
out
the
of your
game.
hand, and I say you guys went on an 8-point run, and I slow the game down. I'm like, okay, I'm not just gonna come down
Cause
and
you
let
didn't went so
somebody jack up this
crazy.
shot.
They not even passing you the ball at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm
Mm-hmm.
demanding the ball. I'm demanding to run a play. I'm setting up like there's things that you would do that you expect your point guard to do. Where he's not succeeding in those areas because again, his teams don't win. And so for me, like I can't really go with the whole argument like I'm a champion because I made it out. No, you're great. You're a success story as far as a human being, and that's great. But
Mm-hmm.
when you have accolades like, okay, you did say, oh, well, if you don't win a Grammy, Does that make you any less? No, it doesn't. But when you won an American Music Award, expecting a Grammy isn't really that far off. Right? So it's like that. Like he's won the MVP. Anybody who wins the MVP is expected to have that standard. Nobody wins the MVP and they go, man, we don't expect him to get a ring. When Giannis won MVP, what did people start saying? Now he's got to get a ring, correct? Everybody.
But I'm saying that's the standard though, and like, but is that really like? I mean, like, come on, man. How many greats don't have rings?
That one
MVP. Or how many people have, like we was talking about, got maybe 3-4 rings, but you don't even know their names. So like, I mean, like why do we have to put him in that conversation all the time? Like, what if the ring just not his? But are you just talking about just winning in general, him as a player? Like what?
You gotta win. You gotta win at that level. You can't be considered MVP means you're already the top player in the league. That means on a given year, you should be in the top 5 to 10. You can't be a top 5 or 10 player in this league and not be expected to go far in the playoffs.
How can you do that with the teams he's been on though, bro? He don't got no LeBron pool to get nobody over there.
Okay. You can't play with Kevin Durant and then Paul George and then James Harden again.
What Paul George?
And say that. And
what
Brad
you talking about?
Finley.
OKC Paul George?
Look, OKC. Okay, wait.
You talking about? That's what you talking about? Drunk OKC, Bradley Beal?
OKC.
Come on, man.
Paul George was top 5 in MVP voting that year.
He was.
What are you talking about?
You said what?
He was. Thank you. Wasn't I right? He was. That was his best. That was one of his best years. So
he just didn't show up. He didn't show up in the playoffs. He didn't show up in the playoffs though.
True. But that year he was playing extremely well.
Yeah.
So yeah, that version of Paul George, he should have got out of the first round with him. And then, like I say, you play with KD, you play with James Harden.
Dame time.
No luck.
Dame time. Yeah. That's what happened. They were there. Russ was right there. He was right there. Now, if they would have won that series, I think we'd be having a different conversation.
You've got an MVP and a person who was in the MVP voting versus Dame. Dame's never finished in the top 5 in MVP voting.
But if that,
I'm not saying he's not clutch.
I'm about to say if that top 5
MVP doesn't win that series.
But if that top 5 MVP doesn't show up in the playoffs, is that on Russ though? Because Russ gave it everything he had. Granted, he
because it's 2-on-1. It's still 2-on-1. Yeah. Even Paul George at 50% is still better than every other player besides CJ McCollum in that situation.
In an elimination game, he gave him 5 points though.
Who?
Paul George.
Who are we talking about again? I'm sorry.
Paul George.
Paul George. No. I'm saying that, but what I'm saying is you still have 2 players. That's like you saying that's okay. Wait. That's like Allen Iverson, right? Allen Iverson versus Shaq and Kobe. And then you go, well, Kobe only had 5 points. It's still Kobe. He was still on the court control. Like defense is still swarming this way. Like they're still being on the court alone, and that presence is going to change the dynamic in which how they play and how they're played. Yeah. What shots, the substitutions, those things still matter. So it's not this idea of like they're just a wash just because it's 5 points. You know what I mean? It's not that simple.
I hear that. For me with Russ, it's that I love Russ, by the way. Like I'm a fan of Russ. I like you said, I like his intensity. I like the swagger he plays with. I like the ferociousness and just the willing to run through a wall to get whatever he has to get done. Like I do love that. However, I think what makes Russ great, and I've always said this, what makes him great is also his greatest weakness, is that he doesn't know how to sometimes dial it back. And like he knows just one way to play, and that's full throttle. And like when you're trying to make deep runs in the playoffs,
pace he was talking about.
Yeah, when you're trying to make deep runs in the playoffs, you can't do that. Like you have to be at some point be able to pull it back and say, okay, I know what I can do, but what's best for the team at the moment, which is why him and KD didn't work, because there would literally be times where KD would be in the corner wide open and Russ would take 1-on-3, 1-on-4, 1-on-5. Like it would be to the point where it's like, dude, you have Kevin, like you have an otherworldly talent in the corner wide open and you haven't even blinked in his direction. That's an issue.
KD be on with that one. I didn't see that so many times.
I do too, because obviously
you're gonna give me the ball if I'm the first option.
Absolutely.
Oh, we gonna have to talk.
Absolutely, because he should have been more assertive, but still, in the point guard position, you have
Who's
to
gonna be assertive to Russ?
But again,
KD,
that's on KD.
I'm the number one player. I'll have you traded.
Listen,
I will have you traded. I'm not going to sit there and fight with you. I'll have you traded.
I had this conversation with a coworker the other day, and it's not the same, but it is.
KD should have been dropping 50 every game, and Russ had 20 assists.
When you're in a situation and you're dealing with another individual who is is deemed difficult or may seem like they're difficult to talk to or whatever the case, you have to get to a point where you say, I'm an adult the same way that you're an adult. So we're going to sit down and we're going to have an adult conversation. And I'm going to let you know that as Kevin Durant, this is what needs to happen. KD,
you shouldn't be taking more shots than me.
KD,
Russ, you shouldn't be taking more shots than me.
Come on now. And KD is a man. KD is a man the same way Russ is a man. They both are men. So if I'm Kevin Durant and I know what I can do, and I'm sitting and there's multiple games where I'm sitting in the corner wide open and you're not getting me the ball and you know what I can do, we're having a conversation. Yeah. And
everybody in the world knows it, and he knows it too.
Absolutely. So
he should not be taking more shots than
absolutely.
He said he knows it too.
No, he does, and that's the thing. It's Russ's way. Russ's problem is that he can't get out of his own way, and that's always been the story of his career. So some of the criticism I do think is unfair. I think they go a little far with it. However, some of it is.
Oh, he's great. Yeah, some of it he's just not a winner.
Yeah, some of it is warranted because he like me and you discussed, Jalen, is that he brings a lot of that on himself because he in his mind, I'm playing the right way because I gotta be the guy, I gotta be the one to do this, I gotta be like in his mind, he's not doing anything wrong, and it's hard to kind of get past or get through to a person like that, not even a player like that, but a person like that.
He's Carmelo if Carmelo was a point guard,
pretty much. Because and I'm glad you brought that up because me and Jalen discussed that as well. Carmelo didn't decide to accept the bench role until he had no other option. That's when he was like, you know what? Okay, I'm gonna accept my role. Because when he felt like he had other options, it was I'm not coming off the bench. Me like what? And it's like the same thing with Russ. It's like if you tell Russ like maybe you should dial it back a little bit. He like me MVP. I averaged a triple double a couple years in a row. Like who are you talking to? So it's like it. I don't feel like Stephen A was all the way wrong in what he said because I can understand. Like I would like to see more out of Russ as well. However, I do think sometimes the criticism of Russ does go over the line a little bit. Where
what more do you? I mean, this. I know you ended the segment, but what more do you want from this man where he is right now? Like what?
Right? No, he's great. Like you said, like James, he's great. He needs
to get the hell out of Washington.
That's all I'm saying. He can't do anything there.
He can't do anything in Washington.
It's not a single person that can do anything in Washington. And
he needs to be he's got to be the second or third option, and he might need to be the third option at this point.
At this point, yes, because he's never been a great shooter, but it's even worse.
So like a young, vibrant, you know what I mean?
Yeah. He could be that veteran that can still come in and make. I mean, because like I said, like he's playing right now, Russ can still clearly make an impact. That's not an issue. It's just that he has to swallow his pride and to understand, like, I'm no longer the number one guy anymore. Like, I have to be acceptable to a role where I can, like James said, be a number two and be a number three.
Yeah, right. You right. He might be that Melo. He better get right before they put him out.
He better.
Listen, because he gonna be another Melo where
Washington shouldn't be last, bro.
He out begging for a job.
Not with him and Beal.
No.
Not with him and Bill going crazy like that. That don't make no sense.
Bill needs to get up out of there too. If we're being all the way honest, because they ain't about to do nothing.
Yeah, Washington ain't doing nothing.
So speaking of teams,
look.
Go ahead.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
No, you go ahead. Yeah, you go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I know what you're gonna go into. No, all right. No, go ahead,
I have to do it. I'm so sorry. I hate to even do this to you, but speaking of teams not doing anything and not doing particularly well. I know, James, you are an Orlando Magic fan. It pains me to do this to you because I know this is a very touchy subject for you. But
it's like being in a bad marriage, like for years, for decades. It's been a bad run. I'll tell you that. Go ahead.
But you love them, so there's nothing you can do. You just gotta keep riding it out.
Look, I love them, but I'm just stuck with them. They're the worst. They're the worst wife you could ever have. No
So,
returns, none.
what do
All
you
the
like?
love, you get nothing back.
What's happening? Because like they traded Aaron Gordon to the Nuggets for a little bit of nothing. Like what's happening? What's going on? Like
Who did they get for him?
Who did they get for
Nothing.
him? Nobody. They
We
didn't.
got like Otto Porter, and we got like some Gary Smith,
So basically,
whatever his name is,
they traded Aaron Gordon
Gary Smith or
for
something.
some. They traded Aaron Gordon for some now letters.
Scraps. We keep getting scraps back. Traded away Oladipo the same way. Got
Yeah.
scraps.
Yeah.
We have a terrible front office. I mean, I don't know what their idea is of winning or what they're trying to do, but I really feel like they're just trying to have a certain look. Like they're trying to have players that they're bringing in that they believe, well, you'll never leave us. And they kind of all have this kind of really conservative kind of weird kind of swag that Orlando has. Like,
Does Terrence Ross still play for them?
Yeah, he does. He's still over there. But
is that the look you're talking about?
No, like more like okay, like Evan Fournier and like Aaron Gordon. Like think about their kind of vibe, like that, and then take Vucevic, right? That vibe, right? These aren't aggressive players. They're not media grabbing people. Like they're not intriguing, interesting players that would kind of have that individualistic attitude. They like these Utah type guys. Like they're like the Southern Utah, right? You notice Utah always has a look. Like, you know, up until Donovan Mitchell and kind of, they had a look like that conservative. They like all them white boys. They bring them in. Orlando do the same thing when they draft. They doing JJ Reddick's and they doing these foreign players and no knock to nobody, but they're looking for that soft.
So kind of
you know what I mean.
Kind of like the Dallas Mavericks
in
a sense. The Dallas Mavericks are a team that's like that as well.
Exactly. Yeah, that type of feel. That's what it seemed like Orlando was looking for. And I think they're looking for that because they keep having their marquee players leave them. So they're like, let's get people who don't have a strong enough profile to become stars. And so we have the leverage. And I genuinely think that's what it is. And they'll never win that way. We'll never win that way.
No, not at all. Jalen, any thoughts?
No, I literally have no comments for Orlando.
Look, man, hold on, bro.
I forgot there was a team.
Look, man.
Bro, straight up.
We've had greatness now. We've had moments.
Had.
Yeah.
Y'all been like
y'all have
the white innate.
Yeah.
Woo. Okay, but look. In both cases, when we did have them, those are historically great teams. They're historically great.
For sure.
Like if you think about it, that second Orlando team that made the finals against Kobe and them, they're the ones who started that four people up at the top and one in the middle rolling.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
They did that. Kick it back out, shoot threes.
Gundy.
That's all they did. All they players shot threes, and Dwight. Yeah. So that's really what you're seeing now. You know what I mean? And then Shaq and Penny. I mean, we ain't even got to talk about that era. That was historically great, legendary, on and off the court because they were stars off the court.
Oh yeah, Penny still got one of the greatest.
Not many teams could say that, player.
Yeah, Penny still got one of the greatest shoes of all time. Of all time.
He's probably the greatest one-if story of all time too.
Oh my!
Because he would have been all time.
Could you imagine Penny Hardaway in this era?
Lights out.
But go ahead, Jalen.
Lights out. He'd be like what LaMelo Ball. Go ahead. Go ahead, Jay.
No, I was saying he's a coach for Memphis, right?
Yeah, he is. He is a coach for Memphis currently.
He coached Wiseman.
He did for them like 7 games he was allowed to play.
Yeah. But he actually worked with him before that. Like I guess
high school,
how their relationship was before.
Yeah, that's how honestly in the end all be all how they
was in trouble.
Yeah, got in trouble. Was because of that relationship. But yeah, man, I always say, like you said, he's one of the greatest what if stories, and I always say like imagine him in this, like him or like Tim Hardaway in this era where you can get away with so much offensively. And I mean, because
Grant Hill.
yeah,
I would love to see Grant Hill in this era.
Oh my God,
the
because
prime Grant Hill, Jesus.
Grant Hill before the injuries, oh my goodness, that man was. I had a pair of Feelers that was Grant Hill's. I'm not gonna hold you, and I thought they were one of the greatest shoes ever. Because at that time, like
Hill was a monster, bro.
Yeah,
Tracy probably do 40 every day too.
Tracy's another one.
Yeah.
Tracy's another one.
He had more. He definitely broke down later on, but I mean, he had a great run, bro. Even in Toronto, from Toronto to Orlando to Houston, he had a good 8-year run.
Oh yeah, he did. Like Tracy,
he was right behind Kobe.
Right behind, and Kobe.
Yeah, he was. There was that injury.
Kobe even said it himself. He was like, he's the one. He was like 2 inches taller than Kobe. He was like, he could do everything that I could do. There was nothing that I could do that he couldn't do. Like offensively, he could do everything that I could do. And then some. Like Tracy had a bag. Like when you want to talk about offensive moves, Tracy had a bag. Like a
if they would have got him a team, bro. When he was in Orlando at his prime, if they would have just built a team around him, it would have been crazy.
I still think his dunk over Sean Bradley is one of the nastiest dunks I've ever seen in my life. It's not. I don't know where it ranks. I don't know where it ranks, but it's somewhere up there. Cause I mean, drove it baseline all in your grill.
I told Alana last week I think Kobe was a better in-game dunker than Jordan. And then you looking crazy like that. What's wrong with you? Don't make me pull up. Don't make me pull up the Google.
Nah, bro. This is what you understand.
Let me get my popcorn ready.
This is the problem.
Let me get my popcorn ready.
When you guys even talk about Jordan, y'all talk about the Jordan who was winning. What you don't realize is those years before Jordan was winning, he was showing the hell out. Like, I mean, he came in the league averaging 40. And when he was dunking, he was with the chain.
Yeah.
Them first couple years, Jordan, no. Because Jordan wasn't really concerned about winning back. Like he was coming into his superstardom. So he was flashy and them dunks was crazy. And nobody thinks about that period because his first couple years, Chicago was terrible. Mm-hmm. But
I've done my homework.
It's saucy.
I've done my homework.
He was saucy. I think
looking at YouTube. I saw the games.
That's cool and all, but I'm saying I'm watching it in real time. But that's cool. But I'm saying it's the same thing.
It ain't.
It's the same.
No. This is the problem though. When you see it for the first time, see what you saw is something I saw 10 years earlier. That's the difference. I saw that and I go, okay, that looks like Jordan. That's the problem. When you see it, when you see the original. When the duplicate come, you just like, oh, okay, that's cool. That first time though, when nobody's seen it, that's something you can't duplicate.
I'm not saying Kobe was a better all around, but I'm just saying I think in-game dunking. That was just my statement.
I mean he just as saucy, but that's the thing that everybody remember about Kobe with the fro and the 8 and how saucy he was with his dunks early on. But Jordan was the exact same way, and we don't look at that period that Jordan had those struggle teams because the aura of Jordan when he started winning, because even some of those same things, those dunks and all that kind of stuff, he was still doing that. But before that, when it was just he in games dropping 40 and he doing it in all these spectacular looking ways, and they're still losing and stuff. You don't see that as much because the aura is not the same.
He said that ain't on YouTube, huh?
Not right. You know what I'm saying?
You can't YouTube that.
Yeah, for real. You know what I mean? Like you can see like him in 89 and 90 and all that kind of stuff. 86, 87. All those years before he was winning like that, saucy, bro. Jordan was on some saucy shit. I promise you.
Yeah, I mean, I think they both were really great in-game dunkers, to be honest. Like Kobe, like you said, Kobe was very saucy as well. Like he was, I mean,
come on, the one he had on the Timberwolves? Like what we talking about?
Oh, when he drove a baseline, that was nasty.
Yeah. Ooh, James, you too young. You too young for that one.
Too young for what?
You too young for that for when Kobe dunked on the Timberwolves baseline. You too young for that. You don't remember that, but it's okay. It's all right.
No, I do remember that.
It's okay.
I'm
I
just
do remember
saying
that.
when he was going, you know what I'm saying, doing the whole court, and then he went behind the back, did the spin. You know what I'm saying? Like you.
Yeah. Oh, that's probably one of my favorite dunks when they outlet
Come
it.
on,
That's one of my favorites.
it's
I won't
tough.
lie. It is.
The one he did on Yao.
Yeah, he got Dwight too. He got Dwight pretty good too.
Oh,
He almost destroyed
but
him.
Look,
anyway,
but neither one of them were defenders like Mutombo. And
Nah.
Jordan gave Mutombo that business. And you
And
got to
he,
realize
yeah.
Jordan played against the best big men. That era is the best big men. David
he
Robinson,
got
Hall of
Ewan.
Famer.
He got Ewan too.
Ewan.
Joe
Yeah, he got
baseline
Ewan the
jammed
hell
on
out of
him.
here.
Yeah.
Everybody, he dunked those Shaq. He played with the era with the best big men and was more dominant than all of them.
That's true. That's
And dunked on all of them. Ain't none of them not get dunked on by Jordan.
But I mean, Kobe yammed on everybody too, though.
That's true. That's true.
We can't act like he.
Look,
at 38.
He was
I'm
jamming
never
on
going to
everybody.
slander. I'm never going to slander. Kobe was an amazing player. But I want you to understand we would be looking at history a little bit differently had Shaq not been there. Let's be clear.
Absolutely.
He's not winning those first three. Not even close. So
I still think he still goes down in the Hall of Fame and being great, but he doesn't win those first three without Shaq, though, for sure.
He doesn't. Shaq was the most dominant player in the league. There was nobody better than Shaq. Shaq's 3-year run is higher than most anybody's. The only person who is even comparable is Jordan. Those years, nobody could guard. Shaq was just throwing people out of the way, dunking for 40, 50 every night. He literally, everybody was like, oh, he just dunking. There was nobody more dominant than Shaq. And Shaq was a clear first. And Kobe was a second.
Yeah, that's what drove Kobe
clear
crazy.
Second.
That's what drove Kobe crazy. That he was the second.
Yeah,
he was the second option. He didn't like. But I mean, yeah, I think he's still, like I said, I still even think he still goes down as a great and a Hall of Famer even without that. But I don't. No. I don't think he's a 5-time. I don't think he's a 5-time champion without.
He's a 2-time.
He was 2-time.
He's a 2-time.
He for sure be a 2-time.
He's a 2-time. He's not 5-time champion.
I don't think
without
because
Shaq.
Because here's the thing too, you have to realize with those first 3 championships is that Kobe got the opportunity to play one-on-one a lot, because when it comes to defenses and guarding the Lakers at that time, you have to triple team, quadruple team the whole team to start the bench players,
has to
the
jump
fans.
On Shaq.
Like you have to put everybody around Shaq. So Kobe got the ability to, as great as he is, to play one-on-one a lot, more so than a Jordan, more so than a Bron, more so than like the people that we consider in that class, because he had such a dominant force inside where if you double Kobe, he dumps it inside, because Shaq, that means somebody's not on Shaq. So then if you triple team Shaq and you kick it out to Kobe, how many people can guard Kobe one-on-one?
So when did Jordan win the championship being triple teamed?
Jordan also had the same opportunity as far as he had, of course, he had Scottie, he had Dennis Rodman, things of that nature.
What you're not looking at, Jalen, what we're saying is Kobe doesn't have the pressure because he's not the number one option.
Exactly.
When your entire defense has to key on someone else, it leaves you to be open in a way that Jordan didn't have. Jordan was the number one option.
Right.
So Jordan took the brunt of everything and everybody else benefited from it. Scottie was better because of Jordan, not the other way around.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. Shaq made Kobe's job extremely easy during that time.
Hold on, I'm plugging up my charger. I'm listening though.
Yeah. And Kobe showed his greatness with leading those other teams. But what I'm saying is during that period of time, when you had and everybody always knocks this team, but it's historically hypocrisy because it makes no sense, because Utah Jazz, both of those players are historically great. They rank at the top of their, like, assist is John Stockton, points is Karl Malone. Like, these players themselves were always the top seeds in the West in their stacked Western conferences. These wasn't no punks. So Shaq and Kobe had to get past the Twin Towers in San Antonio with Tim Duncan and David Robinson. The Rockets with Hakeem, because Hakeem was still on the Rockets with that collective. Charles Barkley and them was over there. Seattle Supersonics was still fire with Gary Payton and Sean Kemp, right? You ran into Kevin Garnett during his rookie to his MVP campaign with the Timberwolves.
Mm-hmm.
Like all these great teams, if you take Shaq away, Kobe's not going to the finals.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
He's not. But
Yeah.
Shaq at that time was better than all of them. So Kobe could, but they were both like top 5 players, but Shaq was clearly first.
Mm-hmm.
Clearly.
I like that.
Yeah. Like I said, Kobe's still great in his own right. Like that doesn't take it away from his greatness. But I do agree with James. I do think we look at history a lot different if Kobe doesn't have Shaq in those years, because you got to think Kobe got Shaq when he was really young, like really like still trying to like develop like what kind of player
18.
he was. Like he was super young when they first got together, and I mean, he got prime Shaq. Like he got in the midst of his most, like James said, his most dominant era was when he was with the Lakers.
Yeah.
Like he was unstoppable. Like there was not a single person, a single defense, a single nothing that you could do with that man. So that allowed for even if Shaq was having an off night, now you got to deal with this 20-something-year-old kid who's going the hell off, because it's like, oh, don't even trip. You can take this night off. I got this. Because they still, even if he's not having, Shaq is having an off night, you got to account for him.
So y'all were watching the Lakers at the time?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah,
Because they were must see TV.
I was a Shaq fan, so
you had to.
Yeah, I was a Shaq fan.
So what was that like?
What
was that like on a nightly basis? You know what I'm saying? What were defenses doing about that?
Nobody better.
It was real.
Nobody better.
Oh my God! It was Hackett Shaq. It was must see TV.
It was great. Yeah, it was great TV,
whether you were rooting for them or rooting against them, you had to watch.
It was the Warriors. It was the Warriors.
It was the Warriors,
it was
but like
Heat organically.
On creatine, like because
the
Warriors.
Because Shaq was already better than all those other centers, and then Kobe came in that. Even though his first year, like everybody was like, "Oh man, this little kid with the sauce." So you got to realize it was a different era. Like the league was older back then.
Mm-hmm,
so having an 18-year-old kid, you maybe had one of those on like, you maybe had 3 of those, 3 or 4 of those in the whole league.
Yeah, right. It was a rarity.
So he comes in and he's already showing potential, and by 20 he's off. But think about it. Before Shaq had even gone to LA, Shaq had already been to the finals with Orlando. So he was already, Shaq had been a scoring leader. Like Shaq was already in that prime first NBA all-team. He was at his dominant peak. And then as he was already here, Kobe started coming up. And then Kobe is like all-time great, but he's still coming. And Shaq's already there. And so it's just them night after night. Shaq just dunking on everybody, knocking people out the way. Kobe finessing and dunking up. It was the craziest thing to watch, bro.
It honestly was. And the great thing about Kobe is that when he came into the league and Shaq, like he said, Shaq was already Shaq. Kobe had this confidence of Shaq, like that's cool. Shaq is Shaq, but I'm me too. Like he's always had that swag.
Which is unbelievable.
Unbelievable. And I mean, and this is like he said, a young kid. He had struggled when he first came in the league. He was a 13th pick. Like he had people on the Lakers didn't even really believe in Kobe like that. In those first couple of years, they didn't like him. They didn't like him. They didn't have faith in him. They thought they were gonna have to end up trading him because they didn't foresee what Kobe eventually became. So to see honestly, the best part about that for me was to see Kobe come into his own and be like great. I got Shaq. He's otherworldly. He's this great talent. Cool. I'm also that too, though.
Yeah.
And I mean, and he took it, and he was that with anybody. It didn't matter who it was. And with the league being older at the time, and he being a young kid, like, yeah, I'm better than you. I'm better than you. I'm better than you. Like that was unheard of and unseen. Yeah. So to see him to have that swagger and deliver on that, like that was probably the most amazing part for me.
His first All-Star game, he was being Kobe, taking all the shots and stuff like that. And Karl Malone went to go set him a pick on Jordan, and Kobe waved him off, and that was like a big thing. Like you waved off Karl Malone.
Yeah.
That was a thing back then.
He came. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. He came into that All-Star game, and so a couple plays in, he was like, "I got 23. I got Jordan." Like, and everybody was looking like, "You want to guard Jordan?" Yeah. And he said it with so much confidence, like it was no big thing. Like, I got him. I want to have him.
Yeah.
So you got, you know what I'm
There's
saying? You gotta think about
there's
that.
footage online of like Jordan and the Eastern All Stars
Yeah.
talking in the locker room before that
I
game
saw
about
that.
Kobe.
Yeah, I saw. He was like, "Yeah, that Laker boy is
Hey,
gonna be pretty good." Yeah, I
that
remember
Laker
that.
boy is gonna try to take everybody.
Yeah.
That
Yep.
because
Yep.
everybody
That's
knew his mentality. Like this little
absolutely.
young dude don't give a damn.
He didn't give, man. He didn't
That's how
care
Kobe was. So it
nothing
was
about
dope watching
nobody.
that.
Oh,
Like y'all
absolutely.
Yeah.
got the tame Kobe. Like we
Yeah.
had the
Ain't no y'all,
the
cause
wild. I want to rap.
ain't no y'all. I remember all that. Ain't no y'all.
No,
I'm
I
just
got
saying,
8.
you know
I
them.
mean, I got 24. I ain't get 8.
I got
Yeah,
8.
I was gonna
I
say if
came in
you
with
didn't
8.
get 8, bro, 8 was
Yeah,
special too,
I
bro.
remember trying to rap Kobe when he was in the suit and all that shit with Brian McKnight. I remember that.
Kobe just later in his career got really, really. I mean, he worked on it, but even talks to it. But he's. I don't want to make it like. I'm not saying fault, but he's the reason why we sit around and we even think about like how we romanticize difficult shots. Because the
Absolutely.
shots that Kobe took
Absolutely.
were not
Absolutely.
efficient shots.
No, they were
He
not.
was just
They
so
were not.
great. He made them.
Man.
Like, think about all those shots where he was like, he's about to fall out of bounds and he fades and chucks a three and it
Yeah.
goes in.
Yeah.
Like,
Or
come
pump
on,
fakes
man. That's
4
just because
times
he's
until
amazing.
Yeah.
he can get
Until
it.
he gets you jump, yeah. Or
Yeah.
the
He
Because
took
he's gonna
really
make the
difficult
shot.
yeah.
shots.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the one
And
leg runner off the backboard, off the glass, 3-pointer to win
it's
the game.
all on him, bro.
Like, yeah,
Everybody watched that
Ooh, that dude, yeah,
and
that
that one.
yeah,
what it
that
made you
was
feel. And that's how people want game winners. They don't
yeah,
want no.
yeah.
They want, you know what I mean? They want you
Mhm.
fading across the lane and slide, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? 4 people on you and
Mhm.
Kobe, because that's how Kobe was. Kobe, that shot
Absolutely.
against Phoenix, he drives down the right side of that lane and he shoots over 3 people
Yeah, that was the one. That was one.
and makes it and just like turns around like, yeah.
Yeah, I told James the last time we did an episode, and I was like, there's this, speaking of the Phoenix series, like there's like a series of like where he hit like back to back to back, I think like 3 point, like difficult shots, like where
Bro.
I mean he's draped in defense, like there's
Bro.
everybody's all over him.
Yeah.
And the final one where it was like the dagger that pretty much sealed the deal, like this man smacked the opposing coach on the butt, pretty much like good try. Like what? Like, oh man, what?
Kobe was that dude, bro.
The
Yeah.
disrespect, like, but
Kobe
you know
was
I was
how,
that
telling Alana, I was like,
man.
man, I remember he was the first person, that I really seen play basketball, and that's what kind of like got me into the NBA. And I remember just like watching this dude, like he's making everything, like
Everything.
from anywhere on anybody, like he's making
Mhm.
everything, like,
And you got to think too, like he practices that.
and everybody knew
That's
he
what's
was gonna make it,
crazy. He
regardless, whatever the
absolutely,
shot was, Kobe was gonna make it.
absolutely.
See, that's the only thing where the Kobe and Jordan talks always fade because there were times like when they lost to Phoenix and like when they had those struggles and stuff like that. Like there was a difference between what I felt. Like you got to understand, I've been an Orlando Magic fan my whole life, right? So when I watch a game, I'm genuinely cheering for my team. When you played Jordan, you knew you were losing. When Jordan was playing anyone, when he had the ball in his hands, you were just like, please, somebody just stop him. Please. Like you're begging the TV and it never works. He makes it every time. He wins every time. Like Jordan was unstoppable. Every time I bet against Jordan my whole young life and never saw him lose.
You
Yeah.
put
I saw him lose once. My Orlando team did beat him that one year when he came back from baseball. But other than that, my whole entire youth, Jordan was kicking ass. Like it just, and it wasn't one of those things where like, oh, okay, he lost this year, he'll come back the next year. He don't take breaks.
Yeah.
He whooping your ass year after
Yeah.
year after year.
That's crazy. Yeah.
I mean,
Like
but
Jordan was the greatest,
Okay.
bro.
that was
So with
Kobe's.
that, who do y'all think played the best players?
Ooh.
Jordan. Easy.
I would say Jordan as well, because there's more Hall of Famers that come from the Jordan era than any other era. So
He
I
played the
think
whole dream team.
Yeah.
Think about that.
Yeah.
The best team ever assembled. He played all of them and he's beat all of them.
Mm-hmm.
Think about that.
Mm-hmm.
He stopped a lot of them from getting rings. The
Yeah,
dream team.
yeah, and it was to the point where when they scrimmaged that, I mean, because at the time when the dream team was assembled, the league belonged to Magic Johnson and Larry Bird. Like they were like the back and forth at that particular, and like Isaiah Thomas was kind of in that mix too, because he had stopped Jordan before those years before. But once they got to the dream team and they played that scrimmage, it was all an agreement between all these great players that came together that guy is the best player.
The best.
They all admitted it. Like this is the best player. So I mean, I think Jordan for sure, because I mean, you got to think Jordan played like late 80s, all of the 90s, like where basketball was like at its top difficulty, like top
That's
talent.
the golden era, bro.
That's if you want to talk a golden era in basketball, it's that era.
Yeah.
So it's like for Jordan to, like he said, to beat all of those guys, I think he's definitely had to play. He's played against a lot of better players. I think LeBron's had the tallest task as far as like in the finals, just because the teams I feel like he's gone against, like in the teams that he's taken to the finals, like it's been a taller task for him. But I think that Jordan still played against the better talent.
Because what's going to actually happen in years, your era is defined by how your competition finishes out, right?
Yeah.
So you got to think about it. How many people in the LeBron era, how many of his adversaries are actually going to be Hall of Famers, right? The ceiling in this era is extremely high. Mm-hmm. Players like Kevin Durant and Stephen Curry, like James Harden, these people are amazing. Mm-hmm. But when you take away the top, probably I wouldn't even say that. You got top, maybe right now, you got probably 15 players who are guaranteed Hall of Famers in this era. Mm-hmm. And that may be stretching it.
You say how many?
You see what I'm saying? Like 15, right?
Like so when you look, we're talking like short shot Hall of Famers, like no
short shot, first ballot. Yeah. No question, right? Mm-hmm. And so when you look back in your mind, the thing that makes Jordan's 69 in the Garden is because that 85-86 team won the championship. Mm-hmm. It like there were 6, like Bill Walton was on there, Hall of Famer, and he played on the bench. Kevin McHale, Robert Parrish, all Hall of Famers. Larry Bird, of course, Hall of Famer. JoJo White, Hall of Famer. Mm-hmm. Like when you look at LeBron last year against Miami Heat, they're all now Hall of Famers. Mm-hmm. It's not a one. Mm-hmm. So when you look back on that, because then now if Anthony Davis becomes a Hall of Famer, mm-hmm. Rajon Rondo may become a Hall of Famer later, right? Mm-hmm. He actually has the potential to make it. Mm-hmm. Dwight Howard's going to make the Hall of Fame because Dwight Howard's career earlier on is enough to actually get him in the Hall of Fame. Mm-hmm. When you look at that team, then Anthony Davis, LeBron James, now you're talking about 6 Hall of Famers against nobody. So now that Lakers Miami Heat is going to look different in historical context. Mm-hmm. Because you're going to say, oh, they put up a fight, but there's no way they should have beat them. Mm-hmm. And that's where all this stuff comes into play. You look back on these teams that everybody had to go through, and you have to say, okay, did you beat the best? Mm-hmm. Right? Mm-hmm. How many people did you go through? Mm-hmm. How many Hall of Famers did you beat?
Mm-hmm. So how many Hall of Famers on that Warriors team?
4. Wait. 3.
Draymond's not 3. Draymond.
3.
Oh, that's a conversation.
I'm sorry.
That's a conversation. You say he's 3. Not what?
No, he's definitely he had the potential. I'm telling you, those years where he was defensive player, like top 5 voting and all that kind of stuff. Draymond Green looked like another level, like there was arguments. Remember, mm-hmm. there were arguments at a point in time mm-hmm. of who was more important mm-hmm. on the Warriors, Steph or Draymond. Mm-hmm. But when KD came, he showed another level. Draymond got slower because his body got beat up quicker, and he's a mm-hmm. smaller guy for his position. Mm-hmm. And he hasn't been he's not an effective scorer, so he's not getting a lot of rebounds. So he's just a utility guy now. Mm-hmm. But he used to be great. So he doesn't have a Hall of Fame career. He was getting there. But
that's subjective.
No, but it's not though. This is why I say it's not. Because if you go to Basketball Reference, they show you, because there is a formula to how you make the Hall of Fame. Championships are not enough. You're just the fourth best on a championship team. What they do is they break down how many all NBA teams do you make. All stars is in there, but the percentage is smaller, right? How many all defensive teams do you make? Are you a top 10 player? You know, are you what are you? Like I said, he had a 3-year run when they were at their best, where he was at a peak, but his career has died off since then, and his career didn't start off strong. So he only has that small window of time. So he's basically like a Amari Stoudemire, because Amari Stoudemire was amazing at a point and went and was on amazing teams, and everybody thought he was going to be crazier. And look how, and Amari Stoudemire got hurt, right? He slowed down. He wasn't as effective. Same thing. He's Amari Stoudemire with rings.
Wow. That's woo. You might be right about that one. That was a great way to put that. That was a great way. I would have to agree with that, honestly and truly, because if you really break it down to the smallest science, you're right. Because like he said, there was a 3 or 4 year stretch where it was like Draymond is like, he was like,
I guess you want to hold on to that 5-year run.
Yeah. And it's like, and it wasn't the same. He didn't affect the Warriors the same way once KD came, because he didn't have to. So that allowed him to kind of lag. And I think he kind of got into that mode and thought it was always going to be that way. And then now it's not. And now he's required to do more than even before he was asked before KD came.
He did not put the work in.
No. And exposing that he was never really like that for real. It's just that they were so
that
great.
Losing year last year. Last year was exposing, he was already being exposed. But last year, when there was nobody and he had zero impact for real, you realize you're good for the collective. You're great in this situation. If you go to another team,
it doesn't matter. Yeah, it doesn't matter. I think.
What does he look like on another team?
A 6-man.
Yeah, pretty much. I don't think he has the same effect that he once does.
Because y'all ridiculous for saying that. I need y'all to think about that a little bit more.
No,
I need y'all to think about it a little more.
No, because
you're thinking about an older version.
He's not a starter,
bro.
No,
on any team.
Well, if it's a losing team,
if he goes to the Lakers, he starts.
No, he doesn't. Over who?
Anyone.
Over who? So they're gonna start Draymond over Trez? You gonna start Draymond over Anthony Davis?
Yes.
No.
He go if he goes. Yes, he starts.
No, because you don't. Because you got to think about it. You don't need the same things from if he goes there. We don't need you to bring the ball up. LeBron's got that. The rebounds, AD's got that.
And Trez
screens and all that. Trez
exactly. So who's gonna be the real three? Him.
It's gonna be Brian, Trez, and AD. Why would you?
No, because Brian's gonna be one.
No, because
Brian's gonna be one.
The thing of it is, it's like
LeBron may play the one, but he's not actually at that position. Like, they have a point guard in the game. He just plays point guard.
Yeah, Caruso
so they still have a guard
Pope
in his spot.
Caruso or Caldwell Pope? No, I'm not even really talking about the Lakers, but I honestly truly think he starts on any team.
I don't think he starts on the Lakers because, like James said, because you don't need a lot of the things that make Draymond great. The Lakers don't need you to do that.
Okay, give me another team. Let's not talk about the Lakers. Give me another team. He starts.
If it's a losing team, a team that's not like they don't have much, then he probably.
I'm taking someone younger and taller at that position every time.
But
I'm bringing him off the bench.
If he's on a contender,
he doesn't move the needle enough to start.
No,
he's not going to make my team better and move the needle.
He's going to put the ball where it needs to be. He's going to make the right decision.
But not anymore. But not anymore, though. He doesn't do that anymore.
How many? You got to. Draymond is good because if you surround him with spot up shooters, because then he can facilitate and dish them the ball. But if you don't need someone to do that, You have a
I
point guard
disagree,
who can
man.
do that.
Here's why I think it's.
What team are you talking about then? Put him on the team, and I'll argue for the better player.
Here's why I think it's an issue is because I think like in those earlier years with the Warriors, we gave Draymond a lot because Draymond played such a pivotal role as far as being able to set
thinking about an old Draymond, bro.
set up the offense and like get. I mean,
Are you saying he's washed?
Push the ball. He was great on help side defense, but once KD got there and that role diminished and it started to show that like we need you, but we don't really need you. Like if we get another scorer who can do what you do, your value isn't really the same. It's not as much, which is why I think him and KD ended up getting into it because in his mind,
that boy would start on the
Clippers. In his mind, he was still Draymond of old. He was still Draymond that won the championship with the Warriors before and brought the ball up and was the pivotal part of the offense. When KD came, he no longer needed to be that, and he could never accept that. So now, the ramifications of that is that he's still in the mindset of thinking that he's still that pivotal player, but he's not anymore. He doesn't have that same. People don't even fear Draymond the same way.
And organizations don't even think that way. No way. You got to think about it like this. This is how they look at it. What sense does it make to bring you on a team that's developing? Most of the players are young. And then I have a guy who has potential to get better with more reputation, and you are past your prime. You're in your 30s. You're on the other side of 30. And you're not the same player. Like I can get a player that's taller than you because he's only 6'7".
Yeah.
That's not tall for a power forward. You can get anybody that's tall. And then they're more athletic. I'm going to play the younger player more. I may put him in
the
pivotal
Kelly Oubre
moments and
oh woo!
They said the Kelly
yeah.
Oubre.
They can wait.
And that's the thing too. In the new NBA, a lot of these lengthier small forwards are being played as power forwards, and the power forwards are moving to center. So again, Draymond's not at the advantage that he once was because again, he fits as a complement. It's like a lot of players. I'm trying to think. Like I'm trying to think of somebody prominent who left and they just weren't the same player. But I look again. I'm about to go back to Amari Stoudemire. Amari Stoudemire looked amazing next to Steve Nash, didn't he? Not so much afterwards. Because he fit the system.
So is he a
Nash
Pau Gasol?
A
Pau Gasol?
No, because
no, that's too far.
No,
he's not even that skilled.
Because Pau Gasol.
Hell no.
Because Pau Gasol. No, Pau Gasol could give you offense. Draymond can't give you offense the same way Pau Gasol can give you offense.
Hell no. Pau was getting 20-25 on his own.
That and also Draymond is not the passer.
In Memphis?
He's not. Draymond is not, and even with the Lakers, Draymond is not the passer that Pau Gasol is either. Pau Gasol.
He sure ain't.
Listen,
Pau Gasol is a very underrated passer.
Come on,
the Gasol brothers.
Come what?
Yeah.
Like they
could have kept Mark though.
Mark could have stayed where he was at. He could have retired. He could have just retired, sure. Honestly and truly. Like I didn't agree with that one at all from the beginning, but I even more so don't agree with it now because he ain't doing not a nothing. But getting on my nerves.
He passes.
Alana, are you a Lakers fan though?
I am a wherever he at fan. And that includes
because it seems like you kind of like just snuck in there, and it's like bothering me.
Listen, I've been a ride or die since 2018.
Since what?
Since 2018. I'm a wherever he at.
You know what I'm saying? You never checked in. You never checked in with the real. No, never checked in.
I sent my application. I don't know if you got it.
Yeah, okay. I'll check on the desk.
Yeah, you gotta look that over.
It's starting to make sense.
I'm just a LeBron fan, honestly and truly. I've always been more so a fan of players and teams, and since I was.
Is he still out?
He is. He's gonna be out. He's out for at least 3 to 4.
But Draymond did
it's
come.
It's a wrap, bro.
Draymond, no, you're crazy. Draymond came in last night.
Cut that out. Don't do that.
Draymond played last night. I mean, not Draymond. Andre Drummond. I'm sorry.
This is recorded. Who want to put some money on it?
I
put some money on it though, because y'all talking.
Put some money on what?
I'm telling you right now.
He said the Lakers is finished.
AD's not gonna be 100%, and LeBron's not gonna be 100%.
What's finished?
I'll take that bet
What's
every
finished?
single day. Huh?
What's finished? What do you mean?
What you mean? What's finished?
Like you're saying we're done. Like we're done for what?
They're
What
not going
won't we
to
do?
win the championship. They're not gonna repeat. They're not gonna repeat.
Wow. Wow.
Put some money on it then. I'll put that's an easy bet for me.
All I'm gonna say is I said that last year. But
I didn't say nothing.
But I think we were a much better team last year, man. I don't know why we did all that moving around for real. I don't know.
I think and the stars aligned for y'all too, because again, y'all went against a Cinderella team. There was no the Heat had to play damn near perfect just to be in those games. And what you know is that talent that just went east, they don't got to be perfect to be in games. Matter of fact, they don't even got to be in most of the games. They don't got to be in the most of the quarters. They just got to come alive in that fourth.
Listen,
and they got enough firepower to do that. And the Nets will come out of the East, and it's going to be easy for them.
I have seen, listen, as an advocate and a long-time member of the LeBron James delegation, I know better than to bet against my mans, and I'm not gonna do that. So until somebody loses, that's the only way I'm gonna be like, yeah, we're finished, we're done. I'm sorry, I'm not gonna bet against that man. So,
but you're not betting against that man. See, this is the thing. This is what's happening. It sounds crazy, and I'm actually, I don't know if it's like that far gone, but I do want to throw this out there. Mm-hmm. If you look at all of the greats, when they start getting injured frequently, now he got injured in that year before the bubble run, right? Mm-hmm. He's gotten injured again. If you look at the years prior to that, he never got injured. This is the same thing that happened with Shaq. But Shaq was out of shape and all that kind of stuff. But when Shaq started getting those nagging injuries, you got to understand, though, that timing and stuff, like LeBron's not doing things at full strength, and he's older. And he doesn't have a co-star who's going to be at full strength. If you think that leaning on Anthony Davis at 50%, Anthony Davis showed you this year, he still doesn't understand the hunger of he's like, oh, I got a ring.
Yeah.
That's not, you know,
I hate that about him.
You know, and everybody know they seen that. Y'all know they seen. You cannot hide that. So he's already come into the season softer than he should have. Now there's this challenge. Now they're both injured, and they're gonna come back now that the West is stronger than they were last year. And the East is a lot stronger than they were last year. And it's not going to be no Cinderella team coming out of the East either. And so they're going to get beat the hell up by the West, come out, because now the West is a lot stronger. They're going to basically literally go through, because anybody trying to come out the West is a suicide mission. They're basically going to go through all of that and then have to go against the Nets and then beat them too. Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay. See, it sounds crazy now that you break it down like that.
No,
they're not full sprint. You give me them at 100%, we're talking about something completely different. These guys are beat up. That means they are not playing together. They're not getting in the rhythm, and they're not at their peak. You're going to have them going into the playoffs slow, and they're not going to have that mesh and that chemistry that's going to be necessary to put them in front. And
that's what see, but you can't say that because that Laker chemistry is different, bro. That's different over there.
And LeBron got Savannah. We good. Like we all right.
What? It's different right. By what?
We all right.
What do you mean it's different?
Just the style of play. It ain't hard to find no rhythm over there.
Nah, I agree with that.
You listen. Okay, so you guys are gonna sit here and tell me that chemistry don't matter. Okay, let's go with this. Tell me two top players on a championship contending team that both got hurt and then went back to the finals. Okay.
Miami Heat.
Miami Heat. Who?
Because D-Wade and Chris Bosh got hurt at some point, and them niggas still went back to back. Don't do that. Don't do that.
Let's be real. Let's be real. You're a Ray Allen shot away from not even being able to say that.
And now
you won on a prayer and a miracle.
And we still won. Two things can be true.
No.
We won on the prayer and the will.
When you talk about was it a significant injury and Bosh is a third is the third option. Let's not play
Man, do
that.
you know how many
I'm
people?
talking about your top two options.
We
Who's
lost.
the third option on the Lakers? Who else are you going to depend on besides those two?
Besides
wait.
AD and AD and Brown?
Yeah, LeBron. So LeBron's beat up, and Anthony Davis is beat up because they're going through the West.
We
and
got
they're having
Caruso.
close
We
games
got
every
Alex
game.
Caruso.
See, it starts to fall apart when you talk
We
about
got
y'all
Alex
go up against the
Caruso.
Nuggets. Y'all go up against the Nuggets and go 7 games. Even if you win that, that's a loss.
We're not
Because
going
you're gonna go into the next series, but you're gonna go into the next series busted. And whoever else is gonna be better and they're gonna be fresher than you. And if you follow, let's say it happens in the Western Conference Finals. If
So
you get beat up by the
So who you got out the West?
Me personally?
Yeah.
He gonna say the Clippers.
No, hell no. I don't see the Clippers at all. I could see the Nuggets. I could definitely see the Nuggets coming out. I don't think they come out crazy. I think they come out like a 7 game or something. Like I say, you gotta eat. Okay, this is the thing though. I'm not even saying that the Lakers won't make it out of the West, but what I'm saying to you is, if you make me go through Phoenix, and then you make me go through Denver, or like these top teams. And it's going to take so much for AD's got to be great. LeBron's got to be great every night of the series, and they're not 100%. Okay, so you make it out. You're not going to make it out in the sweep. It's probably going to go 6 or 7 games. Now you're wearing their body down every round, right? Your opponent in the East is not going to have that problem. They're coming out fresher. They're more top heavy. You got 2 beat up people who weren't 100% during the season, didn't have enough of the season to mesh and work together and have chemistry, and they're the leaders of your team.
So you just broke down the cakewalk for Brooklyn.
I'm saying it's the same thing that happened with what's the name last year. Things aligned where the Lakers, it just made it like every single season. You're like, oh, okay, great, okay, cool. Okay, we're not gonna have to run into the Clippers. We're gonna run into the Nuggets. And at that point, the Nuggets were just more inexperienced.
Of them going? I just feel like, man, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I'd rather see somebody else in the West go than if the Lakers ain't gonna do nothing against them. Then I'd rather see them play somebody tough.
So because that's what I'm saying to you. You think Anthony Davis is gonna be crazy against Aiden? I think he's going to get beat up. And if he's not 100%, that's a wash. Okay, you make it to the next series. He faces Jokic. That's another situation, right? Jokic is going to outplay him in a lot of situations. Okay, so now he's beat up. So then that's your hobble. That's your partner. And then you go and face KD, Kyrie, and all that motherfuckers. They've gotten beat up. So y'all can't sit there and tell, like, this doesn't make sense. It's like, it's not that they can't do it. It's that the probability gets harder and harder for them every round. If you put them in the East, you make the exact opposite argument. They could kill the East because East doesn't have a lot of top heavy teams. They have like 1 star, if that. Look at each team. Seriously, look at each team that's doing some. Charlotte, your best player right now, that what's the name's out, is Hayward. They're out of there. The Heat, they can make a small run, but Milwaukee's still better. Philly's still better. Philly really only has Joel Embiid. Ben Simmons is still always potential. Tobias Harris, we're not even going to really talk about that.
Why not?
Because that's not a serious conversation. It is. He's your third option, and he's Tobias Harris. Again, when we're talking about winning a championship, he's my third best player is not going to be Tobias Harris. It's not. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Right? So not against the Nets. That's not going to happen. So boom, boom, boom. You get them out the way. Like if the Lakers were over there, I'd say the opposite. Okay, you could make it through them. 4, win 5, winning 5, winning 4, winning 5. Okay, cool. Y'all fresher. You got a better chance. But you're coming out the West, and the West is strong as hell.
Yeah.
It is.
And they're not 100%, and they don't get to have that chemistry. You got to build chemistry often. Like, it's not something where it's just like, oh, well, we won 1 championship. That was still their first year together. There's a lot more chemistry they were supposed to build. So Shaq and Kobe, their first year, had all the chemistry in the world? No. Mm-mm. That chemistry got better with time. The 4 years in is when they reached their peak of chemistry. Mm-hmm. So in their second year, they're both hurt and they're both not playing together. The team's not playing with them. The team has to play a whole different way. And so when the playoffs come around, now it's like, okay, now let's try to get this together. They're not the same players from last year. What chemistry? See, you're talking, and I get it. Y'all talking as fans of LA. You're talking as fans of LeBron. I'm just fans of the league. I see this shit coming a mile away. It's like this.
That's what you think until it implodes. So when it does,
because when the same argument I made last year for the Lakers, I didn't see nobody beating the Lakers. The way the Lakers were constructed, especially when Dwight started playing out his mind. So wait, you're telling me you got a 6'8", all great next to Michael Jordan. You got a 6'11" forward who can play power forward and center, dribble the ball, take step back threes. And then you got a 4-time defensive player of the year who woke up and remembered who he was. What the hell are we talking about at 6'11"? You put those three anywhere near the basket and it's a wrap. And then playoff Rondo came out. Come on, man. Why are we talking? Mm-hmm. What are y'all talking about? It was clear the Lakers were going to win them. Mm-hmm. See, no bias. But if you think that's going to happen this year, y'all crazy.
It's definitely a different team, man.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's a different team. It's different circumstances. It's different scenarios.
As soon as they put Marc Gasol on that team, I knew.
It's that's facts. That is
facts. That's funny.
Until that is a fact. That is an actual factual right there. But like I said, until somebody beats them, I don't pick against them because I think LeBron and AD, even without having this whole year to play together, I still think that they have great chemistry. I mean, great players know how to play with other great players. But I think what is concerning is how everybody else plays around them. Because like you said, once they come back in, it is going to be a different game because now the shots that they were getting before, you're not getting those shots anymore because now we got 2 of our main scorers back. So it's like the offense is going to run through them. So I am interested to see how that fares for everybody else around AD and Bron. I think AD and Bron are going to be fine. Even with the injuries, they're going to be fine because they're AD and Bron. But I think like the KCPs, the Kyle Kuzma, like because Horton Tucker, like you know what I'm saying, like
but he's not, he's
he's
not far from being a third option.
Those me right now. Those names don't scare me at all.
Yeah,
oh really? That's what you got?
Yeah, but I'm just saying, but those minutes diminish and the shot selection diminishes, so it changes the landscape for them. But like I said, I learned I'm not gonna bet against him until he loses. So I'm willing to take that bet.
But you do realize they both had to go crazy in the playoffs, like for them to win that title. They both had to go crazy.
But that's what great players do. That's what they're supposed to do.
Yeah, but there was no Robert Horry game. There was no Derek Fisher game. You see what I'm saying? You can't name one time where somebody else.
Rondo.
Rondo's a Hall of Famer. Let's not do that.
No, but did he show up or no? Players. He was the role player, bro. He was starting.
Do you have him this year? Is he on your team?
KCP.
Because I forgot.
He was another one. He was another one.
Is he on your team?
No, he was not. No, he's not. But we still.
Is he on your team this year?
No.
Okay, so the same person you want to rely on to use as your reason.
No,
who's your person to go to this year? When LeBron and AD are 80% or 70%, and they got to be great every game, and they can't. Who do you go to next?
KCP.
Who's giving you the points? Let's look up how many times KCP has gone off.
No, he had, but last year he was big for them last year in the playoffs. So we can't do that. Don't do that. He was big for them last year in the playoffs. Don't do that. Don't do that.
Yeah, we're not doing that one.
He didn't have no big games. He didn't have no big games.
Cleveland fans used to be. They used to be.
He didn't have no big games.
Matthew Dellavedova. Matthew Dellavedova
Okay,
played some
so
great defense tonight.
first of all, if you ever
that
believe
boy had 2 series. That boy
hello,
KCP been
he had
consistent now.
yeah. I'm gonna say if you thought Matthew Dellavedova,
You're not gonna sit here and play
delusion.
like KCP is somebody. He's not even a top bench player. Let's not do
He
that.
is in the league right now.
Oh my god,
He serves his purpose, bro.
What does he rank at the shooting guard position?
this nigga.
What does he rank at
off the bench? His name is being called a lot more than a lot of
He's
other
not
bench
better
players.
than Jordan Clarkson. He's not better than Jordan Clarkson. He's not having a better year. Not even close.
Oh no,
Jordan Clarkson is
not
about to be a
year,
6 man of the year.
And that's fine. That's cool. But who got a championship?
That was good.
KCP. What? KCP got a championship. That's fine.
You're I literally just picked somebody on another team that is clearly better than the guy you guys are.
And that's fine. He won games in the clutch. He won games for the Lakers last year, and we're not gonna act like he didn't. Did he not, Jalen? Did he not? Am I lying? Am I lying?
He was a very
what game did KCP win for y'all?
Oh God,
which one?
He won a couple.
In that
Denver series, there was a couple of games that he made the difference because he was hitting shots when.
Who you think LeBron was kicking the ball to, bro?
Exactly. Come on now.
Dwight.
What did he average in the playoffs?
Not gonna do that.
I'm about to look it up right now. I'm about to look it up because y'all talking crazy. I want to see what this dude averaged. This is now. Do it.
He was for sure giving you 8 to 10.
Now, and what? 8 to 10? That's your third option? 8 to 10?
When you need it, he was there, man.
Oh.
He was like the Shannon Brown of the Lakers.
That's not a good comparison. You're talking about Shannon Brown being your third option? This is sounding more suspect as it goes.
Hold on. I can't even find it. Let me see. Okay,
I know he's at 8.3 points right now.
That's right now. He had 10.7 in the playoffs last.
Yeah, I said 8 to 10.
And
that's
then
third option. Your third option scored 10 points. Hey,
he wasn't our third option last year.
Next third.
He wasn't our third option last year.
Is Kyrie?
Huh?
How many is Kyrie scoring in the game?
That's true. That's a very good point. I just
23?
hope that James Harden turns into James Harden of old in the playoffs this year.
It don't even matter no more.
I hope
it don't even matter.
Oh yeah,
you know why it don't matter?
It
don't.
Mm-hmm.
It don't. You know why it don't? Because James Harden doesn't have to take 50 shots for the Nets to win. James Harden don't have to take 10 shots for the Nets to win. James Harden doesn't even need to be there. That's what y'all not getting. These KD is sitting right now, and the Nets are blowing people out.
Who are they blowing out?
They're blowing people out.
What contender teams have they blown out?
What contender teams have they blown out?
Yes.
They're blowing out everybody. Their margin of victory
is
extremely high in the last 25.
What playoff contenders that are top teams have they blown out?
What team?
None.
Whatever's on their schedule. What are you talking about? Whatever's on their schedule.
Because against good teams, them niggas struggle. They have they not? Have they not?
Yo,
they struggle to beat the Orlando Magic.
Okay, you're still okay. You get do that 3 more times. Right. Okay. Let's not do that.
They could.
You can't. Anybody can beat somebody one night. Anybody can beat somebody one night. Okay. You talking about you got to beat me 4 times with those players?
Well, yeah, you better hope Kyrie don't take a mental break.
You ain't got to worry about it. Look, y'all go ahead and bet that money so y'all can run me my money.
What we betting?
I'm with it. You name it. I know. Look, y'all know I'm good over here.
What's the bet?
Because I'm good for it.
What's the bet?
That the Lakers don't win the championship.
Oh no, I ain't betting that.
Yeah, I'm not betting that either.
You're not betting? Why? That's y'all team.
You said the Lakers was finished.
You bet with the Magic then.
Right. Right.
We're not even gonna make the playoffs, bro.
Right.
At least I can be objective about it. I'm not hiding it.
Bro, my whole point is like and it goes back all the way to like our midpoint of the conversation. Like it was supposed to be, the Lakers and the Clippers last year in the Western Conference Finals before they got beat by, the Nuggets. So and the team we had last year was kind of set up to win. You know what I'm saying? Like you said earlier too, just like the Nets is right now. So even before all the injuries, like I didn't even expect us to come back. I personally thought, I was like, well, maybe I believe that this is Kawhi's year. I still don't want to sleep on them. I believe that they could do something too, but I don't. Yeah, with all the people we lost, man, and like you said, the injuries, the chemistry is not the same. I don't. Oh my gosh, that maybe have been AD's worst thing is getting that ring, because he still don't have that hunger. When you wear them stupid
he didn't
braids
level up
in,
after that.
I was like, bro, why do you got these dumb braids in your head, bro? You do not look like you ready to win no championship, bro.
Not the braids.
Like, bro, that was I hated him for that. Like, I feel like, and he definitely he needs to be Shaq, because he can be.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
He can. But he's never had, because when he first came into the league, bro, y'all don't remember.
He didn't have that.
He had that profile where it's like he didn't want to be a center. He told them, I want to play power forward, and he's extremely tall. Like, he doesn't have that idea of like, I want to dominate. He's a finesse player. He was a point guard.
Yeah.
So he kind of has that, like, he don't know how big he is.
You
know what I mean? And so it's like, that's why he, right? So that's why he looks so comfortable taking a step back three. And it looks great because he's so tall. But if you think about it, he ain't going in the post doing no Shaq-like move. Okay, there you go. He don't want to be that. He don't want to be that. And so that's what LeBron needs, especially now. LeBron need a dog. LeBron needs somebody to be like, bro, I got you, bro. Sit down, I got this. But AD is not that. He keep trying to coach him to be that, but AD don't got that inside of him.
It's not there.
You know what I mean?
He don't.
It's not there.
D Wade had it. D Wade wanted to kill you. Like D Wade, I remember D Wade by himself, and D Wade was fine with being the main guy and just running in Miami. I've never seen that fire.
Injury slowed him down.
Yeah. I never saw that type of fire from AD. You know what I mean? I've never seen that.
You're right about that. You are right about that. Like, he has these moments where, like, you have to literally pull it out of him. Like, you have to, like.
So what big man do y'all think has that besides Embiid now?
Ooh.
I think you could get it out of old boy in Miami.
Oh yeah,
I think with the right tool,
I would agree. I would agree with that.
He's a monster. He just don't.
I would agree. He don't know it. He don't. Yeah, he's finding his footing. He's finding his footing. I would definitely agree with that. Absolutely. I think he's, probably the one other player that you could say that about other than Embiid. But the rest of them, they all want to be like AD. They want to shoot. They don't really want to bang it out. You know what I'm saying? In the post anymore. There's no real, if you think about it, there's no real dominant post players anymore.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Actually,
like, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say the crazy part is the one person who's actually, that there's a lot of stats on it too now, where that's why his shooting percentage is so high, is Zion. Because Zion does take a lot of his shots in it, and he just does more of a, like, I'm running towards you and then dunking on you versus like just posting and dunking on you. So he does the post moves and he takes the post shots without really being like because he's only 6'6".
I sleep on Gobert too,
but he's big.
Gobert.
He's great at defense.
Yeah, Gobert's great.
But I can't get 20 out.
You think he's an offensive liability?
Absolutely. I'm not scared of. I'm not scared of Gobert on offense. If I'm playing against him, I'm not scared. You're gonna have to prove to me that I need to be scared of. Yeah, no, not at all. And when I say dominant centers, I'm talking about like James. Like,
I got a double.
I have to double. I got a legit double. If I don't, you're gonna kill me all night. Gobert doesn't strike that fear in anybody. Like, people laugh at Gobert, even though he's a great defender, but he's like a laughing stock for real.
That's true.
Like, nobody really takes that man serious, unfortunately. Like, I would, you know what I'm saying? I hate that for him, but it's the truth. Like, it ain't one of those things where like, ooh, we gotta play against Gobert. It's like, hey, we gotta play against Gobert. Like,
your boy Kawhi out here not being clutch again.
What you mean?
But he just lost that game to the Nuggets.
Again, boy, the Nuggets got their number, don't they?
I just don't. That's what I'm saying. Y'all keep saying this, but I don't even like the Clippers, like the makeup of their team. Like
I
I
don't
like
either.
he fit better on the Raptors.
Forget a team. He's supposed to be. He's supposed to be Kawhi. He's supposed to be Jordan-esque.
He shouldn't have left. He shouldn't have left the Raptors for one, and Doc shouldn't have got fired.
You Nick Rose is talking crazy.
Doc shouldn't have got
this
fired.
This is why
either.
y'all talking crazy, because you can't. This isn't the I'm the one star and I carry a team era no more. Ain't nobody doing that. You see what they doing. You see everybody. LeBron did it too. LeBron had to have people with him. So the standard is, and they all know it, Stephen had people with him because he didn't even win the MVP. Everybody who's
what about the second option he has though?
Who?
Paul George.
Kawhi?
Yeah.
Well, this version of Paul George, you can keep that. You could have kept that in OKC.
I mean,
what about his presence? You were just talking about this.
See.
No. We talked about the same thing we said earlier. Like the same thing I said about Draymond. If you're talking about Draymond 4 years ago, we have a different conversation.
Wow,
that's
tough.
He's first ballot. Paul George, when they was talking about him top 5 in OKC, that's why it made such a big splash for him to go to Clippers. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But think about why it was so big for him to even go to the Clippers. They was willing to give up so much. Now, this version of Paul George would never net that much back. Mm-hmm. If he gets traded again, it's going to be for a lot less. Mm. And that's because his profile is not the same.
If they don't win, he's getting traded again.
Yeah, look, you notice you said, "Oh, Kawhi ain't winning, Clippers lost." You ain't said nothing about Paul George in the game. You ain't heard no highlight, no scores, nothing. Right? Yeah. If he my second guy, where he
almost not a superstar anymore.
That's what I'm saying.
That's what I'm saying. He's always been in that second tier to me, like of crop of superstars that had the potential to be great, but they never quite, like they never got over that. Like he's very much a Carmelo Anthony to me. Like Carmelo Anthony was great and is an excellent basketball player. However, he never took his game to the next level. It never evolved. It was always what it was. And Paul George is the same way. Like he's never developed anything else other than what he already has constructed currently. What he comes on the court with, it's either this makes it or it don't. And if it don't, he good with that. He going home and that's that. Like Carmelo was the same way. It's like I'm gonna present.
Carmelo would have been closer to the ring if he had just stayed in Denver. To be real.
Or if
he would have been.
We was talking about that last week too.
Or when he had the opportunity when he re-signed with the Nets in 2010, and if he would have went with Bron, he would have won a ring then too.
Yeah.
But he went for the bag, which I mean, hey, get your money, but
he should have went to Chicago because that would have been the best situation for him.
I thought so too.
He needed to be a second option during that period of time, and if he would have been,
when was he supposed to go to Chicago?
When he re-signed with the New York Knicks, he had the opportunity. They wanted him in Chicago.
It was either them or he was gonna go.
D Rose was there then.
He was gonna or he was gonna go with LeBron.
Prime D Rose.
But LeBron and them was
Jimmy Butler was there too.
Heavily recruiting him to come with them because he was supposed to be a part of the Big Three before Chris Bosh was.
But I don't think his ego wasn't in that place.
No, it wasn't.
I say, like Carmelo still had that. I need to be the man, and that's one of the reasons why he stayed.
And that's what I was. That's what I was telling Jalen. Like that's why he didn't become a bench player until he was forced to become a bench player.
Yeah, you know what I mean. He was never willing to. I mean, not even that. Like going from first option to bench is a very long stretch. But even just saying, okay, I'm not the man here. Like he wasn't even really at that point yet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're definitely right about that. Hold on a second.
Where the host go?
Hold on a second.
She doing Houdini on us. But yeah, man. I don't know. We was definitely talking about his career. I had to plug in my charger,
y'all. My phone.
We was definitely talking about his career and just how he said. I think I asked her. I can ask you too. I asked her, give me your two, your two overrated players of all time and two underrated players of all time.
Bill Walton is one. Bill Walton is overrated.
He's overrated.
Oh, okay.
Overrated for sure. For sure. Those Portland years were good, but they to make the Hall of Fame done too much. Overrated.
Yep. I give you him.
Christoph.
Who?
Yeah, Christoph Porzingis. I would definitely do him. He was supposed to be the next thing. He was a unicorn, remember? And not so much. He don't really show up the way he should. And then when he does have a good game, everybody's like, oh, maybe he's coming around now. I'm like, nah, bro. He is what he is at this point.
He just can't stay healthy.
Mm-hmm. So,
right,
underrated.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
That's how we was too.
Yeah, it was hard. Like I had to really think. Like, man,
I'm gonna just stretch for the sake of argument. I'm gonna say Victor Oladipo. Actually, I think Victor Oladipo is you can build around him, and I don't think really. I think Indiana, if he had a little bit more patience, they would actually build around him. But no other team he's been on has genuinely looked to build around him. They've always had him like second, third option and stuff like that. But he showed he was the man in Indiana, and I genuinely believe you put him on a team and you say, we'll build around his skill set. He's got a Dwayne Wade way of scoring. They're the same height, same frame. Victor has the same hopping ability Wade had in his prime. He's improved his 3-point shot. His 2-point shot is extremely underrated. His athleticism, his way of getting to the rim, and he can play make like a point guard. So you take all that and you put the right pieces around that, and I think he's a legitimate 23, 24-point scorer on a decent team that could be like 4th or 5th in the West or East. So what
setting, like what team, what setting you think he would fit in? That's probably another hard question.
Is that for Oladipo? You talking about Oladipo?
Because he's with the Heat. I mean, he's with the
I think
the Rockets now.
No, he's with the Heat. He got traded to the Heat.
Did he?
He's on the Heat.
Yeah. I think he fits well with them. Honestly, I feel like he fits well with their culture and with playing alongside of a Jimmy Butler.
There's too many shots going on over here, man.
Because Jimmy's a dog, and I feel like Victor Oladipo is a dog too. And I feel like
them white boys over there shooting though.
Yeah, but I mean, if you got two players that are gonna beat that, for one, they can set you up to get shots. For two, they're gonna do all the scrappy, dirty work. So all you really got to do is run and get open. Like, that's perfect. I would love to be Tyler Hero. I'd love to be Tyler Hero too, right now. I mean?
Yeah. I think that team's a little small. I mean, still, if I'm thinking,
they are very small.
If I'm thinking ideal, like somebody like Oladipo, again, I want to run him off screens, right? I want to get him open, and I want big bodies. I want guys that got some. So when they set that pick, Victor Oladipo is getting space to get in his groove. So I mean, shit, it's a lot of teams that need a quality shooting guard. Shooting guard is in a position where there's a lot of quality right now. So, I mean, you could really, the boys there now. You could, I think where you put him and make him like a number. I still want to make him a number one option though. So,
yeah, I'm not sure where you put him when he could be a number one option. And he is kind of injury prone too, so that you have to factor that in as well.
You could, because that's not really a good fit right now. There's nobody over there. I can't think of anywhere where like a shooting guard is like like you put him there and he's the number one player though. Like there's a lot of teams you could fit him, but he's not the number one player.
You go Knicks.
He could go to the Knicks.
Yeah,
He could go to the
that
Knicks
could
and be the number one player.
That
That's a
could
good
be
one.
interesting. That
Because
is,
they got some quality big men. They're young big men, and they're athletic.
They got
so
a quality little squad on the under for real.
They do.
They got a quality.
They got
over there. Julius Randle not playing.
Randle is balling out of his mind right now.
Yeah.
I tell you what, you throw him in New Orleans, and you got an effing problem.
Hey, we gotta be family, bro. I was literally just thinking the same thing.
Oh, for sure, that would be. Oh my god, woo!
For sure, trade him for Lonzo.
Yeah, I was about to say. I was about to ask y'all, do you get rid of Lonzo for Victor Oladipo? But yeah. I would do that. I would make that trade too.
Yeah, take some of that pressure off Zion a little bit more.
Could you imagine? Could you imagine him with Brandon Ingram and Zion Williamson?
That's a monster, bro. That's a three-headed monster, and they young too. Nah, man, that ain't even fair.
Yeah, they dunking on everybody.
Oh, what?
Everybody's
eating over there,
and everybody getting 20.
Yeah, everybody.
That's
eating.
60 points just off them.
That's everybody. They just need a couple more around them with some spot up shooters. Maybe, you know what I'm saying, somebody to
get
play
them one or two veterans. Yeah,
play along Zion. Not necessarily have
because they got Steven Adams still there too. So that's a big body setting screens. Yeah, that's nice. Whew. Yeah,
you don't want to run into him. You don't want to run into him. That's gonna hurt. That's going to hurt. I forgot who was trying to. I forget the player that was trying to, they got into like a little altercation and they was trying to move him and he didn't even flinch. And I was like, bro, that's embarrassing. That's embarrassing.
Yeah, them dudes, they different, man. You don't mess with they breed.
They like to fight.
They built like that, yeah.
Oh, they like to fight. As soon as you knock them down, they laugh and get back up and be like, try it again. Do it again. All right, so this has been a great episode, man. We've got a lot. We covered a lot. We got a lot of content in, man. We gave great opinions. I appreciate y'all fellas for being on the show for one. Taking time out of your schedule for sure to come rock with the show.
Yeah, appreciate you for having us.
For surely, and we got to do this again because the playoffs are coming up, so we gotta definitely lock in and get some takes, get some real bets going on.
I'm willing to
when
take
Brooklyn
money,
get kicked
man.
out that first round. I'm back on here.
You think Brooklyn will get kicked out the first round?
Don't duck us, James. When it happens, don't duck us.
Hey, I'm on this thing. I'm on this thing unapologetically. I might wear a suit, like a funeral suit.
You gotta come in, Skip. You gotta come in like Skip with your head down on the desk. Say, I'm not here. I'm not doing the show today. But all right, fellas. And in all honesty, like I said, I really do appreciate y'all coming on the show and for showing love. Make sure y'all go get my Cuddy's album. Make sure you let them know again what's the name of it and where they can find it and stream it.
Yeah, look, I'm on everything, man. I'm on Apple Music, Spotify, Tidal. I'm on everything. YouTube Music, Google Music. I'm on everything you can possibly pick it up at. It's called You Are More Beautiful Than You Think. So it's YAMBTYT. That's how it'll be pronounced on there. All streaming platforms. Go ahead and check that out, man. Love, next single, April 16th. Y'all holler at me. Lights on. Y'all know what it is.
For sure, look out for that. And Jay, what's going on with Numbers? We got anything coming up we should be looking out for?
Just follow me on Instagram, Dripstar Jam. Stay tuned. I'm always doing something.
For sure. All right, and always make sure that y'all follow me and subscribe for the show on YouTube as well, From the Ground Up, as well as on Instagram. I am Sensei_33, where you can find out all the shows. And if you're on Facebook, I'm just my regular name, Alana Trap. I post a show on there as well. So make sure y'all be on the lookout for that. And that wraps up this show, fellas. Once again, I appreciate y'all. Much love to y'all, and y'all have a great rest of y'all night, man.
Love. See y'all.
All right.
You know it.